Hello, 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 welcome to the stream. Hello, hello, all of you. Hello, Megacraft and More Juice. Hello, chat. Hello, Matthew Wong. Today, we are talking about the fact that we hit monetization and that membership is open. It's been a wild time, a wild journey to monetization. So I just want to take the time to thank you all. But while we are waiting for people to file in, I kind of want to start with today's, pre-agenda chat. So I have a question up top there, and I kind of want to know what is the weirdest food that you have all have eaten? And the reason is because even though this is the 1K sub special, we're actually not, that far off from 10K. And at 10K subscribers, my milestone reward is I will be trying to complete a weird and exotic food tier list. I myself am a pretty big fan of unusual, exotic, and let's say popularly understood to be bad tasting foods, because I like to challenge myself to see if I can acquire tastes for those kinds of things. Hello, Mirko. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Does British food count? The funny thing that you mentioned that, Cider, I have gone out of my way to source, what is it called? Marmite, right? The UK equivalent of Vegemite. And I have to say that Vegemite... Sorry, I had Marmite. I was trying to find Vegemite, but I did get Marmite as kind of a consolation prize. Not as bad as YouTube reaction videos might lead you to believe. So I kind of want to know what kinds of exotic foods you have all tried and which ones I should try to source for my 10K tier list. Because again, like, I'm no stranger to things like offal. I love durian. I love stinky tofu. I'll talk about all of these weird and exotic foods. Oh, I shouldn't call them exotic. Exotic to the American palate, right? Like, for a lot of the world, these things are relatively normal. And more juice. You had said that you had crickets before. I've also had crickets. I bought them dried, and I tried to prepare them myself, but they ended up just tasting like dirt. But that's not fair, because I really want to get into finding alternate sources of proteins besides animal products, because while I personally find animals to be delicious, I would very much like to not do that going forward into the future. And so there was a period in my life where I was actively trying to find acceptable protein substitutes, crickets being one of them, but I just could not acquire a taste for them, which is why I asked if what you got was commercial or not, because, I'd like to try them again in the future. Marmite is actually good. I will die on this hill. Marmite is, I think, fine. I know that, like, yeast byproduct is a quick shortcut to making things taste savory, and we're actually going to explore that as we are going to be eating scobies today. Scobies being symbiotic cultures of bacteria and yeast, and I have not tried them yet. I hope they will not be awful, but I am trying my best to be open-minded in that regards. Chitin cricket flour might work for you then. I don't actually use a whole lot of flour in my cooking. I tend to cook a lot of, like, stir fry, but like unbreaded stir fry, a lot of we'll call, like, Chinese inspired foods. Although I know, like, I've had cricket flour before, and it's pretty indistinguishable from any other flour that you might be able to use for cooking purposes, although I don't know how well it holds up in things like bread. The bag of crickets I tried was seasoned. That's good. I often find that there's something about eating bugs, like the deep earthy flavor of the bugs that I've had before. You know how mushrooms are typically described as earthy? They're not that kind of earthy. To me, they literally taste like earth. It was basically like pub food. Ate it with beer like you would peanuts. I mean, it might be context sensitive too. Like, I might have been over ambitious to have it substitute protein for a proper meal. That might have been going a little too far. I swear I've seen arrowroot in grocery stores before, so I might have to give that a try if you insist that it is worth trying, me a craft. It's been a while since I've had Marmite, so it might be good for me to try to source it again so I could fairly put it on this exotic food tier list. It's also going to be interesting to see where I rank it with other notorious foods like century eggs and durians. All right, but that's a little auxiliary to what we are doing today. Today we are talking about membership. It's been certainly a time, and I'm highly encouraged to see that, at least, with my streaming audience, that there is sort of an appetite for biology education in the VTubing space, which is very exciting for me. And the fact that we have even gotten to this point, I didn't think that I would make it here in the year 2024, so we have vastly outperformed my personal expectations. Beans are good. Test pasta and beans. Yes, the very exotic pasta and beans. Do you have any particular exotic preparation that you typically do with them? Uh, I haven't had Marmite, but I've had Vegemite. I get the feeling that people who found them to be were trying to eat way too much of it at once. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's content to see someone eat disgusting food and react to it being disgusting, but I think it's also content to try to overturn people's perceptions on typically what people consider to be disgusting foods. And when people, eat a spoonful of Marmite, like, of course it's going to be bad. You wouldn't just chug soy sauce either, but for some reason, we accept soy sauce and not Marmite when functionally they serve similar purposes. I think that's kind of interesting. Okay, so membership. Let me be clear, or I guess I should start with the fact that I promised you all Toxo. Toxo is around, but Toxo is a little occupied at the moment. We have haven't given the cat a name yet, a stream name, but Toxo is being held down by the cat currently. She will be on later, perhaps to try the SCOBY with me, and when the time is right, we'll say. You're meant to have Marmite in a thin layer with butter on bread. Yes, that's exactly how I had it, and I thought this is acceptable food. But then I did not know what to do with the rest of the Marmite because it was still a little strong, even with just a smear on top. I do low-key enjoy the occasional teaspoon of Marmite, though. That's maybe the most British thing that I've ever seen. Toxo is duct taped to a chair. Naruhodo, might as well, might as well. All right, so what are we talking about today? Before I get into membership perks, I want to talk about my YouTube money philosophy, just so that we're on the same page on whether or not you believe it is a good investment to support me. Then we'll get into some fun channel rewards, and then at the end, we will get into taste testing some SCOBYs. And then if we're feeling up for it, we can just chat afterwards, which might be fun. So here's my YouTube money membership philosophy, right? I strongly believe that education should be free. This comes from a deeply, sincerely held belief, and it was also the way that I was raised, in the sense that hearing stories about my family and the poverty that they had gone through, the fact that we are now able to live a relatively comfortable life in a country like America speaks volumes to the opportunity that is afforded, in this country. But that sort of opportunity would not have manifested itself had education not be heavily subsidized in one way or another. And I know that that's not necessarily the case in the US anymore, with how crushingly high tuition can be. But philosophically, or morally, I should say, I strongly believe that all forms of education should be free. There shouldn't be a barrier between somebody and their willingness to improve and actual improvement. You might think that, isn't that a little hypocritical, being an educator at a university that does charge tuition? And what I have to say about that is, well, tuition used to be subsidized by the government in the US, not so much anymore. And also the education that you get at a university that you pay for, that's a lot of what the return on value is connections and training, more so than just book learning, right? Because a lot of these universities also upload their course catalog online for free for anyone to view, and I highly value that kind of service. So while, me on my YouTube channel, I'm not going to be the ultimate equalizer across time and space, but I think I can do my part to at least make high quality, well, in my opinion, high quality educational content free for anybody that wants it. So membership will not go into exclusive perks for educational content. I will always make my educational content free for everybody. So the question then becomes, so what do you get out of membership? And that's what we'll get into in just a couple of slides. Based, super lit, extremely based. Thank you. Omega based. Marmite in stock might be a good idea. That way, that might also help solve the fact that I've been lacking a very solid substitute for meat stocks, and something meaty like Marmite might be a pretty good way to start to transition soups over, which would be fun. Educational VTubers like Fi and Sai are the future, I'll tell you what. Hold on to that thought. There are plans in the future. We got things cooking that may or may not include Marmite. But yeah, so you're not going to get more of my educational content. That should be free for everybody. So what do you get? Well, for starters, you can see, now that More Juice is heavily commenting, we get badges all drawn by Toxo, of course. When we Toxo insisted that she draw the badges for the channel, which I thought was awesome. These are little what are they called? They're little cold viruses, but I've now forgotten their scientific name. Adenoviruses? I'm gonna get called out for that. But we have these cute badges for different milestones, subscriber milestone lengths. And then we have this big boy over here, this galaxy virus that Toxo insisted that be bigger than all the other badges, because that one should mog everybody else. And I would just like for you to know that she said that with her own words. Yeah, no, I love these badges. I totally I insist, like, I was like, if you don't want to draw the badges, YouTube has like custom, like default badges, and they'll be fine. Don't put yourself out. But then she like went into a trance and banged all these out, and they're awesome. I love them so much. So the longer you stay subscribed to the channel, the more access you'll have to these bigger and brighter badges, which is very fun. Okay, so that's what you get at any tier reward, is access to these badges, and now we'll get into some of the more specific stuff. So the first tier of membership is the progenitor cell. Now, I actually leaked membership last stream, and More Juice has been a member since last stream, and unfortunately you have been downgraded to progenitor cell. So at this tier, it's just $1 a month, and at $1 a month, you get all of the emojis, which are great. My personal favorite has got to be this Fi Strong emoji that I'm going to go ahead and spam in here. I love this one. This one came to Toxo in like a dream or something. It just manifested. And I love them very much. And the more members that we get, the more emojis we actually get to unlock. So we're actually maxed out on our emoji count right now. You'll also get behind the scene updates on videos that I'll be making. So while I do enjoy streaming, my primary creative passion is these video projects that I make. And if you subscribe at the $1 tier reward, you might be able to see some thumbnails that I might release ahead of time just to get some testing done. So I know it's not maybe the the draw that makes the most sense, but you could pay me $1 to help me work on my videos. But not only that, you also get access to members-only videos, stuff that is not algorithm friendly. So there's a lot of stuff that might come in the future that are like jokey, maybe not like totally biologically relevant, that I want to put out there because I like making videos, but I'm afraid might not play so well with the algorithm. And if you subscribe at that $1 tier, you will get access to those extra videos as well. At the next tier, at the Helper T-Cell tier, you will get access to not only the previous perks, but also something called the Learner Challenge, and you'll get access to the first tier of the Learner Challenge, which is challenges that are going to be easy for me in particular, or rather, relatively easier in particular. Yeah, words. So with my membership offerings, I have a full 9-to-5 job, sometimes working weekends, and so I don't really have the capacity to make more content, more dedicated planned content. But what I do enjoy doing anyway is just learning a bunch of stuff, and I really like teaching to begin with, and so I figured a membership incentive could be that you challenge me to learn things across different difficulty tiers, and by the end of a set amount of time, I will do my best to then teach about that subject. So if there's a particular topic that you want me to look into and explain in my style, this would be a nice way to get the community involved in the direction that I take the channel in. So how does the learner challenge actually work? So members can suggest and vote on topics of varying difficulty. The higher tier, the harder topic you get to suggest. I take a fixed amount of time to learn about that topic in as much detail as I can for that period of time, and then I'll try to make a stream or video or short depending on what is the most appropriate format. Sorry, I totally missed. Hello, amazing troll face memes. Welcome, welcome. I'm explaining membership tiers, and we're talking about the learner challenge. So again, yeah, like higher tier members can suggest harder topics, and everybody from the T-cell tier up can watch update videos and streams as you get to kind of see my learning process, or maybe the lack thereof, right? Depending on how hard the topic you give me is, the learning may or may not be so good. The thing is I have an attitude. I have an attitude of an academic, and so I feel like I can learn anything I put my mind to, even if that might not be so accurate, right? But I think it's interesting because, you know, that PewDiePie video that I mentioned last stream, where PewDiePie spent a large chunk of time drawing every day, and the amount of progress he was able to make was incredible. And I'm not saying that PewDiePie's job is easy, but what I am saying is that PewDiePie no longer has to ever worry about putting a roof over his head. I think he has a kid now too, so I mean, it's not that PewDiePie's life is like a cakewalk, right? But money for PewDiePie is no longer an obstacle. And I'd like to think that, you know, challenging someone to learn over a 9-to-5 job is maybe a little more realistic in terms of appreciating the difficulty that goes into picking up new skills and abilities. So I think that would be interesting to walk through as I open up sort of my introspective process on how to actually tackle new information. I reserve the right to enforce boundaries and what to cover. So, like, obviously, if you suggest something not appropriate for the channel, I'll just not choose to do that. I'll only do one challenge at a time, again, 9-to-5 job, and I'll let you know if the idea is already on the list so that you don't sort of waste a suggestion. Okay, so what are easy topics? So easy topics are anything in fields that I'm at least somewhat familiar with and whose literature I'm not entirely unfamiliar with. So things in biology, which are very near and dear to my training, psychology, which is somewhat adjacent in the sense that there was a period in time where I wanted to be a psychologist, and so sometimes I'll just read some of that for fun, or sociology, which I'm less familiar with, but again, this academic naivete in me, I'm just like, oh, I'll probably be able to figure it out, probably. You know, I might be eating my words later. But yeah, so this is basically a shorter turnaround for development, because I'll probably need less time to read up on whatever topic you suggest here than I would in the future tiers. If we go up a tier into the macrophage tier, not only do you get all of these stuff before, but you also get access to the medium tier of learner challenges, as well as something I call summer vacation gaming. So, you know, 9-to-5 job, teacher job, not a lot of time to make more content than I already do. But the perks of being a teacher, at least in the US, is that you get summer vacation. So if you just want to upgrade to the macrophage tier just for the summer months and get access to like playing games together, I would be very happy to do that, especially because I typically don't play multiplayer games because I'm like really afraid of disappointing people. So getting to play with some of all of y'all would be actually kind of fun in a context where you know, I guess there is a pressure to not be totally terrible at the game, but with an understanding that you should not have high expectations for my performance in that regard. So in terms of the learner challenge, what are medium topics in the learner challenge? So medium topics are topics in academic fields that I'm not well acquainted with. So things like chemistry, math, physics, philosophy, history, basically the subjects that I got B's in. again, part of my academic naivete is that I think that I'll be good at them. Like, I think I'm smart enough to figure it out if I try hard enough. But again, part of, I think, some of the excitement is I might not be able to do a good job and it might be horribly embarrassing. Um, and I'm also like vaguely interested in all of these. I do have curiosity, but it might take me longer to make sure that I'm not propagating misinformation or anything. And so those are the medium topics. That's a macrophage tier. And then we have like a tier that I'm not sure anybody would, you know, buy into, but it is something that I think if there's a mad lad out there willing to throw me the money for this tier, that there's this well, natural killer cells. And so here we have the first time debut of this cell type, the natural killer cell, drawn specifically for this membership reward. And so this is basically the highest tier that I can offer right now. And again, like I like the membership structure being kind of communal in the sense where if anybody subscribes at this tier, doesn't have to be too many of you, but if anybody subscribes at this tier, they can challenge me to do what I call impossible challenges. So what are the impossible topics? Impossible topics are skills because I have a skill issue. Apart from book learning, I'm like not really good at anything. And so part of yeah, look, the shades, I know. Love the design. Oh, it appears that we have a Toxo coming into chat. Let me reposition the mic and get her on the screen real quick. Toxo, I guess we'll wait. Do you want to vamp? Go vamp.
No, I'm considering not talking at all, actually, to make you a liar.
No. You've already chatted. Continue chatting while I set this up.
Wait, no.
Continue chatting.
I can't even hear anything. Someone.
I mean, there's nothing to hear besides the lo-fi music.
Well, what if there is something important? I don't know.
There's something important than lo-fi music?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure that that's going to be the case, but...
All right. So impossible topics are skills because Vi has a skill issue.
Thank you for reading the text on my screen. Do you want to maybe vouch for how bad I am at some of these things? That might be kind of fun.
Actually, I think it would be really funny if we forced Vi to do a karaoke stream, because that is something that we've talked about, but as more like a meme. So, and the thing is, you know, there's this thing where I think we all think we're better singers than we actually are. And the fact that Vi says that he's like good enough to know that he's bad is true. Because when Vi and I went to karaoke, like without actually having the karaoke machine have the lyric, have the sound for the lyrics and stuff like that, oh my God, it's bad. Like I'm listening to myself and I'm listening to him and I'm like, why are we so out of tune? What's going on here?
Yeah, it's a real curse to like have an ear good enough to know that you're terrible at singing. Because you can't escape. Like every time you hit a note and you know you're wrong, it just feels so bad. Oh, I need to do this. Keep vamping.
I can't read the chat. I see my Engine Crafter. I've never played TF2 before in my life. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if this is kosher to say, but I did know somebody who was banned on TF2 for selling hats for real money. And I will say right now that I do not condone this behavior. I just thought it was an interesting anecdote. I am not willing to sell hats for money. I don't know anything about TF2 is the thing, except that there are hats.
I think that you would vomit if you were to play TF2.
Oh, yes, this is true.
Toxo gets really bad motion sickness.
Yeah. We've been playing Kingdom Hearts recently because that's another thing I've never played. And Vi is really into Kingdom Hearts.
I'm a Kingdom Heart boy.
It's a Kingdom Hearts stan.
I cannot get this thing to work.
It's fun because it was working like 30 minutes ago.
I was just testing this and it was fine. This is so sad. Where's Toxo? Bring Toxo back.
Oh, I'm right here.
We can have Shadow Toxo for now. I don't know if...
I love Shadow Toxo.
Okay, we'll have Shadow Toxo for now.
She's a little creepy. And I like that I'm right behind you. And there's no, don't move me.
No, I'm not gonna move you. I'm not gonna move you.
I want to creepily be directly behind your little neutrophil mans.
Hello, Engine Crafter. Welcome. Yeah. So I think I would definitely play tier 2, but if Toxo were to play, I'm pretty sure she would vomit like instantly. Hello, Shiva. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. We're talking about membership rewards. This is the highest membership reward where you can challenge me to take on the acquisition of skills. So we were just saying about how like I'm good enough with my ear to know that I am off pitch a lot of the time. And when you don't have the singer to keep you on pitch, it's a freaking disaster. So that everybody like that does karaoke streams, I respect that so much because it's not easy.
I mean, the thing is, do you think they have like the actual pitch in their ear too? Like I guess it would be hard if they were to play the karaoke music and then also have the singer in their ear. It would be hard to make sure that was synced up.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
I don't know how people do that.
Yeah, that's why like it might be a total disaster if we were to do it, which, you know, might be incentive to actually try. But yeah, like I also I'll have a slide on my like actual skills like in just a little bit, but like since this is going to require daily practice, things like singing and music theory, thank you for the upgrade, more Jews. Thank you. Welcome to the helper T cells. Singing is hard, man. Like, okay, everyone can sing. The art of singing without making others' ears bleed. Yeah, exactly. Like karaoke, if you go with enough people, is totally fine because everybody sings all of the lyrics anyway, and so you can kind of hide
also,
in the karaoke
when everyone
booth.
is singing, on average, you're like kind of the right pitch, right? Because some people are going to be flat, some people are going to be sharp. Like on average, we're okay.
Yeah, and but like, yeah, we tried this because my mom. I don't. You may have mentioned it while I was trying to get your avatar to work, but my mom has like a sick karaoke setup in the basement now that we've moved out, and she's transformed the basement into like a soundproof karaoke booth, and she keeps on insisting that we try it out. And when we did, it was
bad.
It was so bad.
It was bad news.
It was, and also I feel like the acoustics in the room, because there was like soundproofing. Like,
yeah. It's the acoustics' fault. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Copium. It was the acoustics. That's why we sounded so. We didn't have the resonance. Yeah. So we'll set like a time period, and we might be able to vote for how long I spend like training in these things, and we'll do like a before and after, so that if I suck just as much at the beginning, then you'll know that I will have failed spectacularly. But I think it'd be kind of cool to do like a halfway point check-in to see how like learning is going.
An anime training arc.
Yeah, an anime training arc. I think that's a good way to put it. I get that. The best way to enjoy karaoke is to go with someone just as bad or even worse than you at singing. Yeah, but it's kind of like a communal thing where like if everybody has that attitude, nobody would want to go karaoke, because we like karaoke is the thing.
I think it's hard to get a group to go to karaoke.
Yeah, it's hard to get more than I think the group that we're thinking of going with currently, the size is 4 people.
It's 6 people.
6 people?
Yeah.
I don't remember there being another 2 people added, but we could probably make that happen.
You weren't there when I discussed it with other people.
I see.
And I never told you, so there's no way that you would know.
I see. I cannot read your mind. That is fair. Okay, so why might someone want to invest in some of these impossible challenges? Well, that's because, again, as I said, I have a big skill issue where I'm not good at anything. Fi, have you told Toxo about your amazing waifu rating program? So, chatters, for those of you who don't know, over the pandemic, I was so head empty, no thoughts, and I needed like stimulation. So I wrote a program in Python to what the program would do is it would show you a picture of an anime waifu, and you would rank that waifu from like 1 to 10. And by the end of ranking like 500 waifus, the program would be able to tell you basically what your type is. And so I don't need to tell Toxo this because Toxo was sitting next to me while we were locked down during quarantine, and she watched me program it.
I wouldn't say I watched you program it. I was too busy. What was I doing? I was learning how to live 2D rig stuff, so I wasn't paying a lot of attention to you.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, you know, deep into the pandemic, we were just desperate for anything to keep our minds occupied. So Toxo went down the practical route of learning how to do live 2D, and I made the most degenerate thing I've ever made in my career.
Is that are you sure? Is that the most degenerate? What about the...
Oh, no. We're not ready to talk about that yet.
Okay, never mind. I lied. It was a lie. There was nothing more degenerate, and that is the only degenerate thing that Fi has ever done in his life. This is my view as a member of this stream.
Morju says,
do not sue.
Do not sue. Morju says that if someone gets the impossible tier, that to get me to release the source code for the waifu rating program. Here's the thing. Just because it worked doesn't mean it worked well.
I mean, I think it would be really funny. I mean, in terms of like... Okay, wait. So if someone does the impossible one, right? And they choose a programming thing, and they tell you to make a degenerate waifu tier list rating, whatever thing, then by definition, you have to show them where you start out from, right? And where you start out from would be the original rating system.
What side are you on?
I am on the side of having a good time, always.
Don't worry.
That is not necessarily on Fi's side.
Don't worry, we can help you optimize the program. I think it's not that it's I mean...
Chat will help you.
Okay. If someone does subscribe...
Crafter is here. He's going to fix it.
It wasn't broken. I'm just very embarrassed. Okay, if somebody does subscribe at Natural Killer tier, I will release the code and I will build upon it in maybe a month. Like, I will spend time to make it actually something that can be used for real, because it's not finished, but it does work, if that makes sense. You have to show your work. Fi as an academic in the field of science, you know that is a necessity. There are some things that maybe shouldn't be released to the public, but I mean, I do have a price tag on me.
Should we talk about your fan fiction?
I don't think we should talk about the fan fiction. We talked about not talking about the fan fiction.
But we talked about it last stream, so there's precedent.
But they don't need to be reminded now that there's impossible tier as an option. Anyway. Don't worry. Sorry, I missed your comment, Shiva. Can I try the program? I need to know what my waifu type is. It gives you a lot more than waifu type. It gives you... Do I have it anymore? It was on my old laptop.
Me. You wouldn't save something like that? So something so precious and important?
Wait. Okay. I don't know if I can release the original one, but I will write a new one if I can't find it in my old files. Because
I think that's fair.
I'll write a new one. And that'll be my start, because I remember enough of the programming architecture to be able to replicate it, I think. And it would help me keep my Python skills sharp. So the waifu program would tell you like your preference. So you might think that you know what your waifu type is because you heavily identify with certain character tropes, and that might even be somewhat reproducible. But until you've rated 500 waifus, you'll never know, like, with statistical certainty what your actual type is. So that would be.
I'm really big into brats. I think they're really fun.
The lore deepens. Please make it open source so we can fork it. Yeah, the thing is like, I took one intro class in Python, right? So all of the programming, you know, best practices, I never did, right? I just wrote it, you know, in a whatever text editor. I didn't ever have like a programming job. It was a very hack job, but I think you'll appreciate at least the structure of what I was trying to do if we get that membership tier. Yes, 500. That is the number that I had programmed into. Again, lockdown was long, y'all. Lockdown was long. Based super. Yeah, and you'd also have to. So, no, you know what? I'm not gonna spoil too much about how I wrote the program. If someone subscribes at the Natural Killer tier, I will do a tell-all on that program. But anyway,
Greedy YouTuber challenge.
greedy YouTuber challenge. So okay, back on track. So what are impossible topics, and where do I start with, like, my skill level, right? We already talked about that. In terms of singing, like, I'm good enough to know that I'm not great. I think we've already discussed that as nauseam. I like music a lot. Like, I don't remember what the channel name is, but there are music composers out there that'll do, like, analysis on video game music and tell you why the music is enjoyable. And I've always found that to be, like, really fun. I think music is really cool, but I just feel like my brain is too small to understand how it works. But if I'm forced to learn it, I will try my best. Hello, Connor. Welcome to the stream. We're
May
talking
I
about
suggest for
topics.
impossible topics beatboxing?
Beatboxing? Okay. Well, we can add beatboxing.
You don't have to add it to the actual. Well, you can do whatever you want. I guess.
Oh, I can do whatever I want.
It's your stream. I kneel.
My simp half of my brain wants to subscribe to the highest tier, and the rational half wants to punch it so hard. Listen, I'm in no rush to do these, so if no one's up there, that's why I put it at, like, you know, kind of a silly, like, tier, but I think it would just be kind of fun. But there's no expectation that people subscribe at that tier. It's just kind of fun to imagine. The funny thing is that for our high school a cappella club, when the beatboxer was out,
Did you do it?
I never performed. I was like the stand-in. I was like the guy that made the noise when we needed to practice.
I see.
So I wouldn't be starting from zero, but since my rhythm is bad, I'm basically starting at zero. Again, not good at things music related, and it would be highly embarrassing. Yeah. Beatbox is like music, but also fighting. True.
Fighting. I knew someone who beatboxed in college, and I asked him once, you know, like, how the hell he did all these noises with his mouth, because it's insane, right? And he was like, oh, it's easy. All you have to do is, like, move your uvula around. I was like, what do you mean you I can't move that. I don't know how to move my uvula. It's insane to me. I don't understand.
Just move your uvula, Fivehead.
It's so simple. I should have gotten that from the start. I don't know.
You know, that's how my dad used to teach me math. He'd be like, it's so easy. Why don't you get it?
What do you mean?
I was like, dude, it's so easy.
It's so easy.
It's so easy. Quadratic formula, so easy, you 10-year-old. So, yeah. So, you know, we already talked about programming. I took one intro programming course and a refresher in graduate school. We did the whole waifu raider, which, again, I will rewrite for you all if we get someone subscribed at that tier. The other fun thing is, like, art. Bye, Connor. The other thing that would be fun to do is art. So, like, in my failure stream, I had talked about the fact that in order to make this channel a reality, or some form of this channel a reality. I did at one point attempt to learn how to draw, but I couldn't keep it together for more than a week. I had insufficient discipline and motivation, so that could be kind of fun too. That's like any expert in any topic. It's just so easy, just do the thing. I really strive to never be that person, especially in my position as a teacher, to always try to be and we'll get into this, I think, in the chatting portion of the section. Where that can get kind of challenging to remember what it was like at an earlier stage in your training / career. Language. So language is also something that requires daily practice. The common moniker is, you either use it or you lose it. And I think it would be kind of fun to do like a language learning challenge. So like my starting languages are English, I think I'm okay at English, right? I've been learning Japanese, with things like Duolingo, not a sponsor, and iTalki, also not a sponsor. And I also know some Mandarin. But like, those aren't really like clean languages to have learned, in the sense where a lot of the Asiatic languages I had been exposed to in my childhood. So I think it would be nuts and really fun to like learn Romanian or something out of nowhere, right? Something that I have no cultural context for, and see like what true naivete looks like in terms of language learning. That would be kind of cool. And I guess Toxo added beatboxing for something that I could learn how to do. But like anything reasonable that would be accessible for me to learn, I can try learning. I think it would be fun. Okay. With that in mind, those are all of the membership tier rewards. I'll just pop this one back up here, the killer T cell, the natural killer cell that has all of the rewards. Basically, like, I have a 9 to 5. We live pretty comfortably, never feel pressured to give more than you can. Like, I don't need to do this for money. And that's also why I get to make all of my educational content public for free behind no paywall. And membership is just a way for you to torture me with learning, which arguably isn't torture because I think it's a lot of fun. But with that in mind, cancel Fi. Why?
Read your chat.
This art. Oh no, that's you. Oh, that's not what I meant.
Cancelled.
I'm canceled. Fade from existence. Yeah. So that's the summary of the membership tier rewards. I think it'd be fun. I think it would be funny. We'll see where that goes in the future. But for now, we have come to the end of the membership part of the stream, and now we get to do the 1K subscriber milestone reward part of the challenge day, I guess. We are going to eat a SCOBY.
What do you mean we?
Oh, true. So Toxo has assured me that she will only eat the SCOBY if 90% of you want her to. So let me go ahead and put up a poll. Depending on how many people are in chat right now, that may or may not be easier to do. So I'm going to go pull up a poll. It's going to take a while. Hello, Yuki. Welcome to the stream. Hey, wait a second.
Huh?
You can't vote. You can't vote.
I didn't vote. Look.
You didn't vote?
Look, it's empty. See?
I'll vote. Unlikely story.
I'll vote yes.
What's a SCOBY? I'm so glad you asked. So, a SCOBY is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. It looks and feels like rubber slime, and it is the catalyst for the production of kombucha. So for those of you who don't know, kombucha is a fermented tea. So it's tea that has essentially been incubated with a starter culture, and supposedly it has health benefits, but if you've watched my kombucha video, you might come to find that that might not be, that the evidence is maybe not that compelling. But the thing is that this thing is pure bacteria plus yeast, and it's alive, pretty much. Or at least some of the preps is alive. So,
it is kombucha. It's the weird part of the culture. It's the culture that makes kombucha. Like it makes it fermented.
Yeah, so it's real gross, but it is responsible for the signature flavor and aroma of kombucha. While I don't think that kombucha has like incredible health benefits, or at least that's not what the science shows, it is pretty tasty. And I thought this was going to be completely crazy, but if you look online, other people have like eaten this before. So I have done, and again, at the start of the stream, I had mentioned that like I'm a big fan of strange foods. And so I don't want to just be, bite into it and go, ew, like it's so gross.
I spent some time preparing kombucha today.
Yeah.
Not kombucha, I mean the SCOBY.
I'm trying to make this as appetizing as possible. So here are two of them. So on the left here is a picture of the raw SCOBY. So I took the SCOBY. I forgot to take a picture because I was not thinking about content earlier in the day. So you'll have to deal with these strips. So these strips, I cut one for me and I cut one for Toxo, but it's looking like the poll is...
I'll do it anyway for a good time.
Saccharomyces, I actually don't know what species of yeast is involved in the production of kombucha. But on the left here is the raw SCOBY that I cut into strips, so it's like got this very gelatinous kind of texture. And on the right, I've candied it and I've dusted it in granulated sugar. So I am going to get these, and then we are going to try the raw and the candied version. And then I'm going to have Toxo take over the chat, and then I'm going to fry them because apparently this rubbery disc of bacteria and yeast has a texture similar to calamari. So I'm going to try to make a savory version in that downtime. The stream occasionally lagging. Yeah, sometimes that's just YouTube being YouTube, unfortunately. I will get the SCOBYs and we'll eat them, but I'll check in with chat to see if we're still lagging by then. All right, so Toxo, please vamp for me.
Uh-oh. Okay. Wait, I want to listen to the music.
You can listen to the music.
I want to listen to the music.
Go listen to the music.
Okay. All right. Okay, I get to be fine now. I get to control his little boy. We do call it like his little neutrophil boy. I get to move. Fi, what are your settings to make Fi cuter?
Shift down for sparkles.
Shift down
For sparkles. And then I don't remember anything else because I'm trash.
What the heck?
It's shift and then the directionals.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm angry and sparkly? All right.
Angry, sparkly. Let's go.
All right, we're angry. We're not angry. We're sparkly and we're blushing because we're from an alternate universe that's correct, Engine Crafter. All right. So I'm going to start from scratch. Ready?
Oh, okay.
I'm going to start from scratch.
Go start from scratch.
I'm starting from scratch. Hi, everybody. It's your boy, Fi, here for the 1K membership stream. That wasn't right. 1K subscriber plus membership opening stream. Incredible. It's me, FemFi. That's correct. Well, the Fi of the past has returned.
The Fi from the past.
The Fi from the past.
Return to the past now.
Has returned to the past. No, but he's returned with some strips of SCOBY is the thing.
Okay, so let's celebrate 1K subscribers. Shall we? Do you want your own pair of chopsticks? Shall I get you chopsticks too?
No, it's fine.
Do you want to touch it? Do you want to give it a poke? I've already handled it. I don't know if you want to like. What's it feel like? Describe to the chatters what that feels like.
Honestly, it does kind of feel like calamari. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's kind of got. It's a lot more firm than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Right. It kind of reminds me of cognac jelly.
Yeah.
A little bit like cognac.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's cheers to 1K subscribers.
Cheers.
We are eating the raw version.
Oh, it's chewy.
Eating noises ASMR.
Yeah, let's eat closer. Alrighty. Um,
Thoughts?
it doesn't chew down well. Like when you chew on it, it kind of compresses into like I've got this weird little ball of leftover SCOBY. It's not bad though. Honestly, it just kind of tastes like the kombucha.
Yeah, it's not bad, and I would say that the closest equivalent would be like, I don't know, has anyone in chat had jellyfish before? Any jellyfish enjoyers?
But I feel like
not quite jellyfish.
I feel
but
like jellyfish is crispier. This one's
crispy.
not as crispy. It's not as crunchy.
I would say that this is like a
These earbuds don't fit in my ears. I'm having a hard time. Go on.
I would say that the raw SCOBY tastes like I was gonna say a flaccid jellyfish.
I don't like that.
It's not crunchy.
I don't like that you've said that.
What is the opposite of crunchy if not flaccid?
I don't don't ask me that. Soft?
So yeah, maybe.
Softer jellyfish?
Softer jellyfish.
Or you could just say less crunchy, like
less crunchy. That's fair. we got a question for you, Toxo. What is your favorite toxin?
favorite toxin? I don't know. I mean, I don't remember what it's called, but Staph aureus, the A toxin, I think is pretty cool. But honestly, I don't remember too much about it, if I'm being honest.
Staph aureus. I actually don't know that one at all. Maybe I'll look into it. Maybe for a future video.
Maybe. It does also look like jellyfish. I agree.
It's true. But yeah, that was actually way more pleasant than I was expecting.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. It was okay.
Yeah. All right, you want to try the candied version?
No. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure it'll be better, I feel.
I mean, this is sort of, this isn't on the kombucha if it's because we already know that the raw is fine. If this tastes bad, it's because
it's your fault.
I don't know how to make candy.
Also, I don't know if you told the YouTube space in a community post or anything, but I want to out Fi in that he did not grow this this SCOBY from scratch. He tried, it failed because we couldn't keep it alive, and then he had to buy one from Jeffrey Bezos.
I did have to buy a SCOBY from Jeffrey Bezos. I tried to over the when I hit 1K that weekend, I went out to like start my own brew. But the thing is there was a chatter from Cidere's chat, and we were talking during her Pomodoro about why my kombucha didn't grow. And the thing is that I've grown kombucha before, but I've used like Lipton black tea, which is just pure black tea and it's like whatever quality, but it's actually the perfect starting material for kombucha. I didn't want to buy like a truckload of Lipton black tea to make kombucha and then never drink any of the rest of the tea. So I decided to use some of the fancy teas that my mom got me. Oh no, your mom got us.
Yeah, it was my mom.
Because every time we visit home nowadays, we just get more and more fancy teas. But the thing about fancy teas is that their tannic content might be higher and that might suppress growth. That's at least a working hypothesis as to why our culture never grew. So yes, I did buy a SCOBY directly from Jeff Bezos.
So this is a cheat SCOBY.
This is a cheat SCOBY.
It's like when you're watching a like cooking or a baking channel and they pop it right into the oven and then and then 2 seconds later you've got the ready-made thing. It's a cheat.
Yeah, I cheated. It's a baking swap, pretty much.
Baking swap.
Yeah, so to reply to Yuki, yes, I did make my own homemade kombucha, but that was years ago, and I couldn't get it to work this time in time for membership stream, unfortunately. Okay. I guess, yeah, so it tastes like the kombucha. If you've never had kombucha, it's vaguely like tea, but I would say it's mostly sour and fermenty. It's commonly described as effervescent, which is like alcohol, but different.
Interesting.
So it's like a little acetone, alcohol-y, a little sour, and sweet because the bacteria and yeast need like a boatload of sugar to grow. And so it's like a sweetened tea that's also got some of the funk from beer, I would say.
Yeah, or like the funk from any fermented good, or any like a kimchi or like any sort of pickle. It kind of gives me a little bit of pickly vibes, but I'm also just really sensitive to sour things in general. So
yeah, Toxo is extremely sensitive to sour things. So I wouldn't go so far as to say it tastes like kimchi, but I think it does taste beer like, which makes sense given the culture, right? Okay. Shall we have the candied version?
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, to another 9K subscribers.
What do you mean 9K? You're already at 6K.
I mean,
Oh. Actually, I like this one.
you like this one.
I do.
That's good. I was gonna say
Do you not like it?
this is not dramatically better than the raw version, I would say.
Interesting.
If you were okay, what would you give the raw kombucha?
Okay, so the thing
raw SCOBY?
for me, I don't know what you did to candy this, but it didn't like crush into that uncomfortable, like just like collagenous ball for me this time. It actually kind of like my teeth cut through it. It was like a pleasant textural experience. I think the granulated sugar that you put on it was also a pleasant textural experience. You know, it's like eating a sugar cookie, you know, like or a snickerdoodle.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like raw squid. Like the texture from raw squid.
I mean, that's what that's what you literally said it was supposed to be like.
Yeah, people did call it the texture of calamari. Yeah, it does give me that. But like the flavor profile is more akin to grass jelly. Not like literal grass jelly, but like if I found that at the bottom of my boba, I would not be mad in terms of like.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So this is going way better. This is
It's
not
kind
gross at all.
It was honestly because you candied it with like lemon peel.
Lemon juice. Actually.
Lemon juice. Okay, so it kind of tasted like the lemon jelly that you get at the bottom of a boba.
That's true. Yeah. Like the IU lemon.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, IU is a little bit more like, I don't know if anyone has had IU, but it's basically like this Chinese herbal lemony jelly. But it's a lot, I would say the SCOBY is a lot more tough.
Yeah.
Because IU is very much like, it cuts right through very easily. In this one, you need a little bit more effort in those teeth.
But if this whole like education thing doesn't work out, we should start a boba shop where
I don't think we should do that.
So wait, hear me out. Wait, let me cook. Instead of just doing tapioca, we can have a whole fermentation room where we grow up scobies and then put them in the bottom of boba cups.
No, I'm changing me to less happy.
No, don't change to less happy. Oh no, we're angry now.
This is what I think of that.
All right. So for the last kombucha SCOBY taste test, I'm going to go into the background and fry up the SCOBY. So Toxo, please take it away. Don't ruin my reputation.
I'm literally now going to let Phi cook.
True.
When he told me I had to do this, I told him that I was going to play a speed. I was going to play a game. It's called Speedrun Demonetization. 100% glitchless. And so what we're going to do now is that Phi told me during the first 15 minutes of the stream that I wasn't allowed to curse. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a bunch of not curses. I haven't given this any thought at all. And in fact, I only just thought about doing this right now. And so in order to continue this weird stream of consciousness, I will now be saying not curses. Butt munchers.
My reputation. My reputation.
His reputation is crumbling as I speak. Let's see.
How will I be an idol now?
Phi, if you can't hear Phi, he's yelling about how I am ruining his say-so reputation and he will never be an idol. And that is probably true, and I agree. However, I do not think it will be my fault. I think there are other reasons why Phi is not an idol. Yeah. I can't even, honestly, I don't know any non-curse curses at this point, and I'm trying my hardest to not actually curse. Something is I'm not, you know, why do I curse? Probably, I guess if you don't have anything of substance to say, then you want to say it in like a way that makes people engaged. And then you can just curse at people and then they'll be engaged in some way, whether it's good or bad. Anyway, I'm now going into my phone and I'm Googling non-curse curses. So if you would like to follow along, you can also Google non-curse curses and type them in chat because I think it'd be fun. Let's see. Reddit is not helping me right now. What curse? Oh, Fopdoodle. I do like Fopdoodle. I think that's good. I'm looking at I don't know. I've never heard of this website, but it's Matador Network. I am not in any way affiliated with Matador Network. And neither is Fi. But Drat is good. Non-cursed, dang it. I'm Dash It All, I do like. Okay, but anyway. Matador Network. Fopdoodle is my favorite so far. Scobberlotcher is also good. This one says that the definition is one who never works hard. That's so if you want to learn about this Scobberlotcher. Oh, this one's kind of cool. This one says smell fungus, which is sort of appropriate, I guess, for a microbiology YouTube stream. I mean, we're not actually talking about anything really micro, but smell fungus. And that's original meaning was meant to be whiny travelers. British mode, bloody hell. We're having a good time. I also, what is this mumble crust? Referring to a toothless beggar. Oh no, that's sad. That's actually quite rude. I don't like that one. Jabbers. I swear, because I have unlimited hate in my heart and because you are goody two shoes for most of my life. You know what? I can definitely relate with that. I feel like growing up, I was very much a follow the rules type person. Until I realized that it's kind of fun. I mean, the thing is, look, I still follow the rules, you know? Do not break the law. Do not pass go to jail, something like that. But it's fun to break social rules in very small ways. And you know, if no one gets hurt, sometimes it's just funny. And then you can also do it in small ways. If you break social rules, then you kind of make yourself the butt of the joke. I'm not saying like shit on your friends. Oh no, I'm not supposed to, I don't know. I'm not saying things about like be mean to your friends because that would be rude, right? But sometimes it could be funny to be mean to yourself. Don't always do that because that's actually illegal in Fi's chat in the way that you're not allowed to call yourself stupid. But you can be mean to yourself in other ways.
I can confirm I can confirm that Toxo does does color within the lines, but her color choice is chaotic, if that makes sense.
Also, more juice, if I can draw Fi in an idol outfit, I will 100% do that at some point. It's going to be a great time. I'll make him post it as a community post.
Hello, Paige. Welcome to the chat. We are about to eat or finalize our SCOBY taste test. So we had one that was raw and unprocessed, one that was candied, and now we have 2 strips that have been fried. And unfortunately, because I had to prepare this fresh, I don't know if we'll be able to get a picture of it, but this actually looks really good. Like the SCOBY was gelatinous and kind of translucent, right?
Yeah.
But after a sear, it looks like a strip of chicken with all the seasonings, which is kind of bonkers. So if you're new to chat, SCOBYs are symbiotic cultures of bacteria and yeast that are used to ferment kombucha, and they're very gelatinous and have the texture of calamari. So we're about to eat one that has been made savory. All right. Toxo, are you ready?
Yes, but I am also personally Melonenkopf, which is, thanks, more juice, is a German for melon head.
That's pretty good. That's good. That's good, clean fun.
It's good, clean fun.
In my chat.
I haven't gotten us demonetized.
Not a single time.
Probably.
Probably.
I said the S word.
You said the S word?
Yeah, the one that means poop. Okay, should we eat these?
We should eat these. Yeah, okay, so what I spiced these with salt, pepper, cayenne pepper, and also MSG, and then I fried them. So let's go ahead. Cheers. 1 trillion subscribers.
Wait,
let's go. Huh?
Okay.
What?
You're gonna take a picture? I don't know.
Oh, no, because my phone is doing live 3D.
Oh, yeah, your phone is being fi.
Yeah, phone is being fine. It doesn't look tremendously different. It is just opaque now, though.
Yeah. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Please don't tell Mom. I'm very scared of Mom. Do not tell. Please, I beg.
I kneel. Okay. So cooked SCOBY, flash fried, and spiced. I think this is my least favorite.
We're on opposite. I actually kind of like this.
You really like this? Okay, explain. You first. Talk about your experience.
I mean, okay. So I guess I need to preface this with I don't know if it's actually the SCOBY that's making me like it. I think Fi, you did a good job adding spices.
Thank you.
And I like these spices. I like salt. I like pepper. I like cayenne pepper. Like, I don't know. I think this one's in second for me.
This one's in second.
This one's in second. This one's I think the middle of the three that we've eaten.
So basically better than the raw, but not as good as the candy.
Correct.
So the thing about having cooked the SCOBY is that you kind of lose the kombucha flavor. It kind of just tastes like spices plus texture. And there's not a lot of that like fermenty tea flavor left over. Oh, thank God they're still alive. I thought the extended silence was because they ascended.
We did.
Well, I'm a neutrophil, so part of my job description is to phagocytose using bacteria. I couldn't be taken down by this. Although I should say, technically, I should have said this at the beginning of stream, but I don't think that the consumption of SCOBYs is FDA approved.
Oh.
So we ate these, well, at least I did. I don't know if I fully warned you.
I did not give informed consent, everybody. I need someone to clip this. I need someone to send it to the FDA, the Better
canceled.
Business Bureau.
1K membership, I'm canceled. It's not that it's like disproved by the FDA, but I don't know if the FDA formally approved SCOBY as a foodstuff, if that makes sense. So, as with all home fermentation projects, you accrue some level of acceptable or unacceptable risk. Toxo is doing the I'm ignoring Fi dance. Toxo like colors in the lines, but the color choices are weird. I will color a coloring book exactly how it is supposed to be colored, as the coloring book cover. I do not deviate from the rule of law.
I have a very strong confidence in my stomach. It's not always proven correct.
You have a strong overconfidence in your stomach.
I have a strong overconfidence in my stomach. Oh my God, the FDA is here.
No, the FDA is here. Well, the consumption of SCOBY is probably going to do something to your gut microbiome, right? Well, according to the research, there hasn't been all that much with regards to determining whether or not the consumption of kombucha affects gut microbiome in humans. We're still doing the dance. She's still piloting Fi.
I'm listening to the lo-fi music.
Yeah,
I'm vibing.
Or let her vibe. So it's a bit of a cope to think that maybe it'll be good for us. The research just isn't there yet. But yeah. So what would you give these SCOBYs on a scale from 1 to 10 if you were to rate all of them?
Okay, the thing is, these were a lot better than I thought they would be.
Okay.
I had extremely low expectations. Like, the bar was on the floor. if I had to rate them like on a scale from 1 to 10, okay, I would give, and this is, I guess, out of all of the food I've ever eaten, but okay, no, don't laugh at me. But like, okay, that also includes like a lot of foods I don't like, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and this was fine. So if 0 is like, I hate this food, I would never eat it again, and 10 was like, feed me this every day for the rest of my life, please, I would give this, the candied one was probably like a 6. The flash fried and spiced one was like a 5.5. And I would say the raw one is probably like a 4.
So on the scale of all the food that you've ever eaten, I think we can really only put it into context if you give us a point of comparison. So what is like the closest?
Oh, but I don't
equivalent?
have good food opinions.
What do you mean you don't have good food opinions?
I don't think people will agree with my food opinions.
Cancel Toxo?
Cancel me.
Yeah, this is the internet. People freaking love food opinions, good or bad.
Okay, so SCOBY, more juice, it was nothing like cheese. As someone who does not really enjoy cheese, there's something, okay, I don't like cheese. This is a controversial, this is one of my hot food takes. Cheese is too
Say it.
dairy, I guess. I don't like the mouthfeel of like after finishing a cheese or a dairy product. It kind of makes my mouth feel gummy, I guess. And I guess the taste of cheese, it's kind of like dank, right? SCOBY was nothing like that. I would actually describe it more like jellyfish, like Fi said.
But it also like cheese, and then this is also my hot take because, you know, Toxo and I have been together and she's actually mitigated my my wild and exotic palate, where I used to be a cheese enjoyer, but being with Toxo for long enough, I've actually come to dislike cheeses like Parmesan because of how
I pilled him.
Anti-cheese pill?
I anti-cheesed pilled him.
But yeah, so like, you know, I'm no stranger to hot food take here. But yeah, like the ferment of a SCOBY is more akin to beer than it is to like stinky cheeses. It's probably the difference in whatever cultures are involved in these processes. Yeah, so what would you say is like the closest candy equivalent? If the candied equivalent was a 6 for you, what's a candy that is also a 6 for you so that the people know where you stand on having eaten this SCOBY?
Like a Werther's Original.
Like a Werther's Original? Wait, but you like Werther's Originals?
Yeah, but I don't like ever want to eat Werther's Originals. I don't. No, that's not true. Don't get it twisted.
Don't misrepresent.
Do not spread misinformation about my likes or dislikes, and especially not about Werther's Originals. But it's not like I hate Werther's Originals. I think they're fine. But it's not like I remember like, damn, I really want a Werther's Original right now.
You would never make a purchasing decision based around a Werther's Original.
Correct.
But you would not refuse it if it were the only candy in your office.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Moriju's Toxo's opinion on pizza is actually somewhat nuanced because
I think pizza is good. The thing is, mozzarella, I think, is such like a neutral cheese that it doesn't really bother me. But like, once you slip like a Parmesan in there and I'm out.
Yeah. Whether or not we would put SCOBY on pizza, I think that pineapple would be preferable, honestly. Not to say that I endorse pineapple on pizza.
More Juice is a Werther's enjoyer.
Werther's enjoyer? What the heck?
Also, Surprise Pants.
Surprise Pants, welcome to the stream. We already ate all of the SCOBYs. And they were pretty mid, but mid is beyond expectation. So actually, they were pretty pog. Okay, so what about the opposite end? So you rated the raw as a 3. What would be the real world food equivalent of a 3 for you?
Does it have to be a candy or does it have
a food? You know, for you in particular, and then you can talk about what hot food take. Who are you gonna upset with your 3 out of 10 opinion?
Okay, so this was mentioned earlier in stream.
There's neutral.
This was earlier in stream, but I'm not
great with sour. I do like a sour candy. I don't like a sour like pickle. I don't really like a sour. I don't like really vinegar. So for a 3, I would say like a pickle, like just a dill pickle, like right straight out of the jar. You know, I know I'm gonna upset people with this one because I know people love their pickles and they love drinking their pickle juice, and I'm here to tell you that you're wrong.
Yeah, that would be Toxo.
This is the official opinion of Fi's entire YouTube
this
channel.
Is not the official opinion. You do not dictate what food I phagocytose.
We will never ever get a Heinz dill pickle sponsorship now. I've ruined it.
10K subscriber special. Toxo does pickle taste test.
There's no way.
10K, 100K sub special. All right, believe it. Surprise Pants, welcome to the progenitor cells. Thank you for the sub. Your channel's gonna be canceled by all the grandparents on the internet for word slander.
It's true. Yes, that's also true. Salt and vinegar chips, I don't enjoy. I'm embarrassed to admit, but my favorite potato chip is the lightly salted original potato chip.
See, this is a hot food opinion that like
I know I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong, so you don't have to yell at me. It's okay.
So we have this thing, right, where we have this structured debate format. I'll call it, where you're allowed to be like, you're allowed to like whatever you want, right? You know, if anyone tries to shame you for your preferences, screw them, right? That's definitely true. At the same time, if you do like something that's bad, it's also okay to admit that it's bad. It's just okay. So, although I think a lot of people do agree with you that their favorite salted, their favorite chip is also just like plain lightly salted as well. I think you're all wrong too, but I respect standing up for what you believe in. You can't be my Oshi anymore.
No.
Me or Toxo? Toxo's name isn't in the channel title, so we gotta get that clear. But yeah, so something that I typically like to point out, like, I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, right? One of my favorite anime of all time.
He does. I can confirm this.
I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. But objectively, parts 1 to part 3, as a work of, like, fiction, I think, unless you're really into campy stuff, it's just not good in terms of the anime. And that's okay. You can like things that are bad for reasons that particularly resonate with you, like the camp of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Similarly, I think it's okay that you like salted potato chips. I don't judge you or make fun of you for it, but I do think you're wrong. So I guess I would give my list now, right? Do you have any concluding thoughts on your SCOBY taste test?
No, I don't. I have a head empty.
Head empty. Okay, your head has been exhausted. So I would rate the raw SCOBY like a 5. It was food. It didn't upset me to eat it. We got a vinegar enjoyer in chat.
Oh no, I can't read your name, my friend. But I disagree. I disagree.
Nono Tsu-chan. my Japanese is I haven't opened Duolingo in like forever, so please correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Fi is writing on the screen. It's not me.
It's not me. I'm in the high chair. I'm not in front of the.
He's sitting in the little baby high chair.
I'm in the baby high chair right now. Yeah. So, 5 for me is food that I will happily eat if presented to me, but I will not actively seek it. So I think it is in the same tier as cognac jelly for me in terms of the raw. It's also similar in general, where it'll exist. Nanashi.
You did bad.
I did so bad.
You did a bad job.
Oh man.
Make Fi learn Japanese.
Yeah, make me learn Japanese again. Wow, I screwed every single character except the end part. Not even. Nanashi-san. Okay, I did. So I at least got the end. Wow, that's embarrassing. That's a sneak peek for the disastrous learning that can happen at the natural killer tier.
Disaster.
Sunshi always confused me. Yeah, exactly. I like English is bad too, right? I get that. Like the difference between M and N, like I get that can be kind of annoying. And I feel similarly about Sunshi.
Y'all, did we hear that they changed the alphabet song? They don't do LMNOP anymore.
What do they do?
They do it slow. I don't remember what it is, but it's like L and M N O P Q R. Like they do it like slow. Like
Oh. Back in my day, the alphabet song slapped.
yeah.
The thing is I did learn the kana table. I did at one point, but again, if you don't use it every day, you lose it, and I have thoroughly lost it.
It's lost.
I have thoroughly lost it. So the candied version, I would give like a 7. I thought it was good.
That's really high.
Yeah, for me, it would be an occasional craving.
You would.
Occasionally, it's sour, it's sweet.
There's candy for that.
Yeah, but
There's like real candy.
I understand that there is real candy, but like I'm a little freak. I'm a little freak when it comes to my food, and you'll all hear about that when I do my weird food tier list. And so I will occasionally probably crave something weird like this. And then the cooked version I thought was not good.
Why didn't you like the cooked version?
I think it's because it just tastes like the spices, and I was expecting it to be more flavorful.
That's true. That's probably why I liked it, because it just tasted like the spices.
Yeah, I need a little more than that.
You need that little bit of dankness.
I'm a little freak. Like I need like weird flavor. All right, well, we survived the taste test. Shall I get the kombucha? Dude, I don't think you've had the quote unquote kombucha.
No, I haven't.
I'm gonna get that. I'll be right back so that we can hydrate. This is which we can hydrate and redeem.
What were the ratings, chat? I don't remember I don't even remember what I said. Let's see. Candied? I think I gave like a 6.5? 6? After I said it out loud, it immediately disappeared from my brain. Like, actually, 100% just gone.
We can compare and say how internally consistent you are.
I'm not consistent.
I remember them because she is happy and looking up and saying "si" in Spanish, which is my native language, and "su" is looking down because it's a bit sad. I think that's a good way to remember that. I'll try to keep that in mind for the future.
I don't know what you said either. What did you say was good?
Raw, I think, was 5, and then cooked is 3. I'm freaking cooked, dude. SCOBY and stir fry. I don't know if I would. I don't know that those textures go together. I think the potential for the SCOBY is really highest in dessert format. I think we've come down on that. You want to try the kombucha?
Sure. This is
the quote unquote kombucha. There's a bit of ferment in there.
Is there?
There is. It's quote unquote effervescent, but it's not very strongly flavored.
Aren't they supposed to get carbonated?
Oh, well, I didn't bottle it. They only carbonate if you like have a secondary fermentation setup, which I don't.
Yeah, there's a bit of a little bit of dankness, I would say. There's not a lot of sourness in this. It's very...
Yeah, because it didn't really ferment.
Yeah.
You couldn't really get the culture to go.
It's like almost more of a fruity sour than an actual like fermented sour.
I think that's a good comparison. It does kind of just taste like a fruity sour.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Pamela. Welcome to the stream. Old Lady Helper T waving my TCR to say hello.
Wow.
Finally alive. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for all the kind comments, by the way.
TCR,
I have been reading all of them. Do you think SCOBY could be deep fried so that it ends up being crunchy?
Interesting you say that. Someone and then someone said it was too much work, and I agree, it would be too much work.
I think that like, so I'm a very stingy person in the sense where, like, well, I don't think it's stingy really, but like, in terms of how often I cook every day. I don't make enough for more than one set of leftovers, and I also do all the cooking in the sense that like I bring myself great joy by optimizing my grocery bill and keeping the grocery bill as low as possible while still maintaining like a healthful diet and good tasting food.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I don't enjoy cooking as an art or as a hobby, right? I don't like post pictures of my cooking online. Like I don't get joy from the creation process. I get joy from optimizing our budget. And so I think that for deep frying is something that you do because you like deep frying. There's no nutritional argument to have a deep fryer at home or risk starting a grease fire.
It also, it seems, because if you throw away the oil after everything you deep fry, like that feels like a big waste. And I know some people, they strain the oil and then they save it, but that seems like a lot of effort for one. And it's kind of, it weirds me out personally. It's kind of, it gives me a little bit of an ick.
I wouldn't be opposed to trying this again with more different culinary techniques. Like I wouldn't be opposed to trying, but not immediately.
Mm-hmm.
We got other stuff in the pipeline. Like I really want to do. So, my debut was a while ago, but coming up at 10K, I believe I will fill in a weird food tier list where like there's some very high profile weird foods like what's the fish called? The one.
The fish.
The really the.
I really like deep fried butter.
No. Okay, so. We were at a friend's birthday party and it was at like a banquet hall and
I wasn't there.
Yeah, no,
don't make this a we.
This was a childhood story, and one of the items that came out in this Chinese banquet hall was a dish that I thought was fried fish. It was sliced in these rectangular pieces about the same size that you would get like a fillet of fried fish at a Chinese place. It was double battered, and I had a portion, and it was what I can only describe as the most tender fish to have ever existed. It was freaking delicious. I still think about that fish occasionally to this day. So I had to know. I mean, I was so young at the time that I had no practical purpose for knowing what fish it was because I wasn't going to cook it. I was young, but I just wanted to know the name so that I could remember to get it every time I went out. And my friend had informed me that it was butter.
Butter.
That the mad lads behind the counter had double deep fried butter, and that was just a banquet plate beautifully arranged of fried pads of butter. And I only thought to ask by the time I had 3 servings. Awful. I'm pretty sure I shortened my lifespan that day. Thank you for joining the membership, Pamela. Thank you so much. Welcome to the progenitor cells. Thank you. There will be probably a wrap up at the end of the stream to remind people what the membership tier rewards are, but thank you so much for supporting free and accessible biology education on YouTube. Surprise Pants, yes, strumming. So strumming is what I was referring to. The stinkiest food in all of existence. And the thing is I'm trying to think about how to organize this like weird food tier list in the sense where there's no way I'm eating this strumming at home. Like, I could drive off.
You would make all of our neighbors upset.
We would be evicted probably. So I thought that it would be fun to do like a watch along of my adventures eating all these weird foods and then do some of them live, the practical ones live. But I think I might actually have to drive off into like the middle of the woods to like eat the can, and then I would have to go alone because I don't think you could stand to be nearby. Unless you've changed your mind on that. Would you like to come experience the strumming with me?
Nope.
No? Come on. Come on. Immune system rise up and cause an autoimmune disease. That's the thing. Like, so in grad school, I didn't like focus in immunology or virology. And so when I was doing the first scripts for the rabies video, tuberculosis video, I had assigned a lot of narrative to like, oh, the immune system fights the bacteria. And my friend in virology told me, actually, the immune system they're not really. It's complicated.
Complicated.
It's complicated. The reasons why you feel bad, it's complicated. It's not all the virus's fault, and I can't get over that. It's such a bizarre turn of events to get down to that level. Strumming is the one where you are strongly encouraged to open in a can outside. Yes, to open the can in a bottle in a bucket of water outside, so that you can solubilize a lot of the aerosols when you.
But you
open
have
up
to
the
open
can.
it in a bucket of water?
Yes.
That's
Yes,
horrifying.
because the escaped gas will ruin. It reminds me of that Nile Red video
No.
where Nile Red had to was making like the stinkiest chemical in existence, and he had to
Rented an island.
he rented an. I don't know if he rented the island, but he just went to an island.
Bought an island? I don't know. How much money does an island rent have?
I don't know. I mean, one day I would like to know, right? But yeah, it's that extreme. So I don't know if you would be willing to come with me in the middle of the woods to eat a can of stinky fish.
That's certainly a proposition.
Yeah.
Maybe if you pose it in a nicer way, then come with me to the woods so we can open this can of fish. I don't know. I'll think of it.
A romantic date where
romantic
we tackle
date.
unknown culinary challenges.
I don't like that's
Better?
I'll think about it.
Yeah, so strumming's on the list. There's also the I think Icelandic shark, the one that tastes like ammonium, that a couple of our friends have had because they visited Iceland. You can actually buy that online. It's really expensive, which is why I was kind of waiting for 10K for that to happen, so I could give the AdSense money a bit more time to catch up and get my
True.
hands on some Greenland shark. What else? There's haggis on the list too. I don't know if you're interested in any of these or if you just do you
Haggis
wanna-
is like intestines of some sort.
Yeah, it's offal and
Offal.
grains, onions. Compared to the durian fruit. Hello, Bart. Welcome to the stream. Comparing strumming to the durian fruit. I've never had strumming before. That'll be for 10K. But in terms of durian, I like durian. I think the reports that durian is horrible are over exaggerated, but that's reasonable considering if you're from a culture where durian is not common, you haven't been acclimated. This is a hot take, right? And this is a hot take that I only have because I've been with Toxo and she has ruined cheese for me.
Hooray!
I think Parmesan is worse smelling than durian. That's my hot take. What do you think about durian?
I think durian smells worse.
Than Parmesan?
Yeah. When I guess okay. So it's time to make people mad again, I guess. But I think durian, the smell is more it's like halitosis, right? It's like bad breath. So for me, durian is like bad breath. And then Parmesan is more like body odor, right? It's more like just stinky BO. And I think as a general rule, this is probably not true in all cases, but I'd rather stand next to someone with bad BO than talk to someone face to face and smell their bad breath.
Surface of the sun hot take. Nuclear fission hot take.
I'm here to
Here's the thing. I agree with you on Parmesan. I hope anybody's not there's nobody eating food right now and hearing us talk about just the grossest stuff. Technically, what we are talking about is food, though. Technically counts. I agree with you that Parmesan does smell like BO. That's definitely true. I think durian doesn't smell like halitosis. I think durian smells like garbage.
Is that better?
I think it's better than halitosis. I don't know. There's something biological about rejection of rancid human scent that is more offensive to me than unrelated.
I think stinky tofu smells like garbage. I think durian smells like bad breath.
I think that's fair, but I also love stinky tofu, so I'm a little freak.
Have you ever had gefilte fish?
Have I ever had gefilte fish? I have not. I've seen it in the store. If you think that I should add that to the weird food tier list, I will definitely make the attempt to get some because that is easily accessible.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Pamela said so, so let's add it.
All right, let's add it.
Let's add
Let's do
it.
it.
Durian smells like gasoline. Interesting. Okay, but there are also people, and I'm not one of these people, but there are people who really like the smell of gasoline too. I'm not offended by the smell of gasoline, but I don't like it.
I'm offended by decreasing lifespan of exposure to fume.
What's a little bit of cancer? I don't know.
It's just a little bit, just a touch.
It's just a touch.
Yeah, gefilte fish. I only know gefilte fish from the rush hour blooper reel, so I'd be interested to actually
Absolutely try it. It's the worst.
The thing is my goal for that stream will be to try to make everything as good as possible. Like, so just how I wouldn't like just eat a spoonful of Marmite on stream.
Yeah.
I would probably like, if you have recommendations of how people, no, sorry. Let me rephrase this, right? I want to enjoy their foods in their most appropriate cultural context. So for sustroming, right? Like, you don't just eat sustroming. You eat it with a bread that they have, flatbread that they have with like sour cream and tomatoes and stuff like that. Just like how you wouldn't just drink straight soy sauce. So if you have recommendations for how we should eat gefilte fish, that would be more helpful, because I want to give each of these foods an honest shot. Filipino food has a few delicious dishes that involve intestines. I think intestines are great. You know, if you eat meat, if you're a meat eater, intestines are awesome. You know, we have them in dim sum, not infrequently. So that doesn't really offend me, but the way that it is presented in haggis form might be kind of unpleasant. Also, there's a lot more organ meat in haggis than at dim sum. Blue cheese is the most gross cheese, in my opinion. What is your opinion on blue cheese compared to Parmesan?
I would agree. I think blue cheese is worse than
Blue cheese
Parmesan.
is worse than Parmesan?
Yeah.
Okay, hot take. maybe that's not. Okay.
But weirdly, I mean, the thing is, like, goat cheese, because we tried goat cheese and it was dank, but it wasn't in a way that I hated.
Goat cheese is so barely anything.
What do you?
That's how you know what Toxo's threshold for dank is.
I'm gurgling
Goat
on my own
cheese
bit.
is
I don't know.
too much. That's what I'm dealing with here, folks. Halang halang and chicharron. Gonna have to look into that.
Chicharron? Isn't chicharron like pork? It's like fried pork,
Or maybe it's a term,
meat
general
or something.
term for
Maybe. I
fried.
don't know.
I don't know. We'll look into it.
I have no idea.
Pretty interesting.
I'm not cultured. It's the problem.
Yeah.
More juice. Anytime you ever go to hot pot, you need to wear clothes that are like, you're gonna wash right away. Hot pot fumes they're sticky. They're the stickiest thing in all of existence. You cannot get rid of them.
I am so jealous that you have access to stinky tofu at a hot pot place nearby, though.
That's true. We don't have
that's
that.
incredible. We have to go quite out of our way to find anything stinky tofu related.
That's not true. It's like a 25
out
minutes.
of my way, at least.
25 minutes to get there.
I'm
Public transportation.
I'm spoiled. Have you ever had stargazy pie?
I'm not even sure what stargazy pie is.
I don't know what that is. If it's accessible, then I'm willing to try it for content.
I mean, Sai says it's cursed, so I don't know. Well, I guess you want to try it.
I have eaten a good amount of cursed food is the thing. There are some big ones that I haven't had, but we ate a SCOBY live on stream. We might be okay. Yeah, educate us on what stargazy pie is. I'm deadly curious. Yum fumes.
Miguel Craft, is that the one that has like actual mold in it? But
Which one?
the queso de calabres, cabrales. It's one of the worst. Because there's one that's like illegal, right? There's like a cheese that's illegal.
There's a cheese that I think it's Karzu Marzu.
Karzu Marzu.
Or I mean, my enunciation might be totally off, but there's a cheese where there are maggots that are introduced to the cheese, and the maggots break down that cheese. It's illegal because I think the breakdown products are not fully understood in terms of maggots interacting with cheese, as well as the fact that you need to wear eye protection when you eat it. I will not be importing illegal cheese for consumption, unfortunately. That is not within the realm.
You hear that, FDA? So you can calm down.
Go home.
Go home. Yeah.
Non-Asians also find century eggs disgusting, but it's not. It's true. It's just like how you wouldn't just chug soy sauce. You need to have century eggs in the appropriate context, right? Have it in a bowl of porridge or rice porridge. I mean, Chinese.
Or
rice
in some
porridge.
tofu, some soft silken tofu.
Yeah, yeah. Some you have to pair it with things. You wouldn't just eat it normally. So cursed. Balut. Yeah. So balut is accessible. Unfortunately,
Is it? We could get balut here?
we can buy balut online. The
Oh.
unfortunate part is you have to buy so much of it.
Huh.
And I don't know if I'm comfortable hoarding 50 balut eggs in the apartment because I don't think I could offload them to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So balut is a maybe. It's a maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Chicharrones, fried pork skins. Well,
I feel like more juice. I would be willing to eat balut if it didn't have the developed fetus inside. I
but that's like the whole thing, isn't it?
no. There's like a range apparently, and if you get one where it's like not really as developed, it's like almost like it's not there, and it's just a more savory egg. It looks like.
I see. I just caught up with chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not be opposed. It would be kind of brutal to eat a more developed balut than a less developed balut.
I bet the cat would love it.
I mean, it might be too salty.
It might be too salty.
Yeah,
She'll get high blood pressure.
she will get high blood
I'll have
pressure.
to give her medication.
A lot of food legal in the EU is illegal in the US. There's also a lot of vice versa in the same way too, where there are like food dyes
there?
that are used in
Oh,
the US
but-
that can't be used elsewhere.
I feel like it's all in the
Red 40 gang.
it's like in the it's in the bad way for the United States. Like we're allowing the carcinogens in the food, but we're
Yeah.
not allowed to eat this. Like, okay.
Yeah. And I think, I don't remember who, but someone asked if there were going to be cheeses on the list. I don't know if we can get access to anything too bad where we are in terms of like, I don't know, what are some stinky cheeses that might belong on the list? Because again, my threshold for bad is Parmesan, so if there's stuff that's worse than Parmesan, you should let me know.
And I think the other thing is that if I likes a stinky cheese, or at least he used to before I pilled him. So I don't know if it belongs on the list because he'll enjoy it too much, you know?
It's not so much like my personal hell. That's not like the if it were my personal,
Maybe it should be.
maybe it should be, but that list would be very short.
That's true.
I think for every one food that I don't like, you don't like, I don't know, like 8.
Yeah.
The ratio is pretty skewed. Balut Pinoy. Is that balut without the bird fetus? Interesting.
Lutefisk?
Lutefisk. That is another thing that I had been looking into. Don't know too much about it, but I think it's another one of these like chemically treated fishes? Question mark?
Eat it outside. It's another one where we have to go outside to eat it. Tragedy.
Oh man. Now you're gonna be all alone while I go out on the most cursed camping trip.
It's true. I'm gonna hang out here with the cat.
You're gonna be missing so much.
Convince some mice to go out into the field. That's you. You're the mouse going out into the field.
I am the mouse going out into the fields, consuming horrible cursed foods.
Consuming horrible cursed food.
What else? What else was there? I had mentioned a bunch of them like on stream. A lot of them are just typical Chinese dishes, but like those are dishes that I would have already eaten. Because like the thing about like the spectacle of eating weird foods is like, I don't know. It's like eating a little piece of history. Like, dang, we were really not well off if we had to resort to certain foods. But like, I kind of like knowing that, and the ingenuity from turning otherwise unpleasant foods into something palatable and maybe even somewhat addictive is pretty interesting to me. Lie and fish. Make some lefse to make up for it.
I'm gonna assume lefse is a delicious Scandinavian dish. That's I
If they're paired together, then I would have to do that. Like, I need to do like
because you need to do it right.
yeah, because I need to do it right. Like, we gotta eat these foods right. I don't know if you need to eat these foods right, but at least I need to eat these foods right.
Cuddles to the cat. She doesn't deserve it. She does. I love her.
Uh, complicated relationship with.
She's a terrible cat. I love her very much.
I think all cats are terrible, but in the best way.
Yeah.
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 You enter a contract with cats, and part of the terms of conditions is that they will be terrible little creatures for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, I would cuddle her actively, but she's, trying to eat plastic.
As her regular routine.
You've eaten an MRE before.
I have eaten an MRE before. Literally eating a piece of history. True, except for the ones that, I'm not like Steve MRE. Well, I'll eat one from like 30 years ago. But I did have a friend who had a phase where she just ate MREs every day. And, wasn't bad. Certainly doesn't deserve to be on the terrible foods list. It's just foods that you would maybe not prefer to eat. But overall, I was quite impressed by how edible that kind of stuff was.
I was really impressed by how fast it heated up.
Yeah, that was like kind of
that
scary.
was crazy. those military chemists, they go off.
That's true. It's true. Yeah. What else was there?
I don't know. I'm just vibing. I'm having a
here
good
for the vibe.
time.
If I were to put the SCOBY on the weird food tier list, I would say that. But the issue is I like a lot of weird foods.
I would say I think what's fair to do is rate them like compared to your expectation.
Oh, that's
because
a good idea.
there are some things where you're like, that's going to be absolute garbage, right? And there are some things that you're like, actually that sounds okay, but then it might differ from your expectation relatively. So I would say for me, SCOBY was a lot higher than I expected it to be.
Cats should come in pairs. That way they beat. Sorry, I can't read that. The way they beat up, play with each other, and not your ankles. That's true. Except, the cat that we got, it was advertised to us by the shelter that she would get along with other cats. But that did not really turn out to be the case. Although, maybe in the future.
That's not really fair to her.
It's not really fair to her. That's fair. We weren't prepared to take in 2 cats at the time. But one day there might be. But the thing is that there's complicated feelings about that too, because
I have no complicated feelings. I want many more cats.
But do you always have these quote unquote uncomplicated feelings, or do you worry that she will come to you less often if she had a playmate?
Oh, you mean like if we got her like a little friend, that she would love the little friend more than me? Yeah, I would worry about that.
I'm like, so to be clear, I am not worried about that.
I would worry about that.
I do know that Toxo has had those feelings before.
I want to be the favorite.
When we went to adopt her, the shelter, like there were 3 cats at the adoption event, and I don't remember the third, but one of them was like this very extroverted, outgoing, loving, friendly, cuddly cat. And then there was another cat next to that cat that was huddled up into a corner and scared for life and shivering.
Guess which one Fi went immediately. I love her.
I looked at that cowering cat, and it's funny. They say that like, you don't pick the cat, like the cat picks you. Like there's something like it's not a conscious decision to decide which cat is right for you, right? That's like something that people say. And the fact that this cat was so asocial, like so like I don't want to be here, I was like, I feel kinship with this cat because I also do not want to be in unfamiliar locations because I too am quite anxious of a person.
It's true. It's all true.
And when we read her like personality card, it said that like, oh, she's slow to warm up. Like she's really shy at first, but like the more time you spend with her, the more intensely that she will like be affectionate with you. And I think that was I felt that. I felt that because I'm terrible with meeting new people,
That's
as
true.
Toxo can attest to.
I mean, you're good at talking with like acquaintances. I think that's something I struggle with a lot more than you do. I'm scared of acquaintances. I'd rather talk to a stranger like 9 times out of 10 because I can be like, I'm never going to meet you ever again. Like, this is probably fine. I don't have to worry about what I'm going to say. But if I'm talking to an acquaintance who I have like a mutual friend with, I'm like, if I say something stupid, if I say something weird, like they're going to judge my friend and like, oh, I don't want that to happen.
I think the difference is that I am such a deep In my failure stream last week, I had made it repeatedly clear that a core part of my personality is that I am terribly averse to disappointing people. And the thing with acquaintances is that I've learned enough about them to understand how I should act in front of them. Like there's a script almost. Like, oh, you know that meme where it's like, oh, when you accidentally use humor for friend group A, like the humor for friend group A and friend group B, it's like that. But you have the information to know how to act in those situations. But with a stranger, it's just the unknown.
Yeah, that means you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, but like what is the right answer?
There's no right answer.
Well, there are choices that can be made, and I agree that you can't know the answer ahead of time, but as a terminally anxious person, it's like I don't want to be in the situation where I have to learn through trial and error with strangers. I'd much rather have acquaintances that I already know a good amount about, and then I can calculate from there. The more information, the better. The less information, the more scary it is. It's so bad when it comes to parties. I'm awful at parties.
Well, I've seen Fi at parties, and he does fine. Like he's okay. He's fine.
I do fine because I identify the other 3 weirdos at the party who can. Because the thing that I'm not good at, and we talked about this before stream, because like there's a streamer that I really admire who like is so good at chatting, at just like without a script, and I couldn't do that because I have an agenda at all times. I have like 18 rants ready to go at any time. I just have to find which one, the unfortunate soul at the other end of the table is going to have to hear. But with strangers, you don't know which of the 18 rants that you have like will resonate with them. So there's this like learning period. And, you could say that that's kind of self-absorbed. Like I should be doing more listening than I should be doing talking. I agree with that. But the thing is that I'm not great at reacting organically, we'll say. Where if someone tells me their interests, I will.
You go, oh, cool. Let me tell you about mine.
Yeah. And that makes me bad, which is why but I'm aware of that, right? I have an awareness of my weaknesses. And so instead of putting this person through a pained conversation, I'm just going to like put up my weirdo detector and like figure out where the other weirdos are and then go talk with them.
Yeah. If I wrote up a whole script beforehand, we are reading verbatim from it, and we did 100% predict that you would ask that question.
It's true.
It's crazy.
I've thought 18 dimensions into the future. I think there's Neil deGrasse Tyson was trending on Twitter earlier today for being Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? But I think something that he said that really resonated with me, and probably says it's probably negative in terms of reflecting upon me, but when asked why Neil deGrasse Tyson was so verbally eloquent, he had said, "There is not one sentence that I have said that I have not first written down." And I was like, dude, same.
That's crazy.
I'm also incapable of acting on the fly unless I'm very comfortable with the person already.
Meanwhile, me saying things off the top of my head and then completely forgetting what I said because I don't know, I just said them. I didn't really think about it beforehand.
I think that might be that might have some explanatory power for why we are the way we are, because you don't dwell on negative experiences, whereas I obsess over them. And so when I say something to a stranger and I like know that they're not having a good time talking to me, I will like remember that forever. So if you're able to like let go of your earthly chains and like not worry about other people's reactions, I think that's one of the keys, I think, to living a happier, less anxious existence. But I can't get there is the thing.
I'm worried about more juice. I'm concerned about his interests.
What are those interests? Let me go ahead and read. You gotta apply your learning mindset to other people's interests. I think in order to avoid legal liability, I will choose to not investigate the thread any further.
The FDA is gonna come. I don't know why they're gonna be involved, but it's gonna be the FDA.
My door is gonna be busted by the
We've
FDA.
already established that the Food and Drug Administration is they're coming.
It's true. I'm on a watch list for the FDA. That notoriously powerful international crime gang. The FBI.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told this particular story in terms of the worst manifestation of this anxiety, but when I was interviewing for grad school, like my inability. Did I tell this story? I don't know if I told this story last time.
I've heard it. I don't know.
So one manifestation of this like inability to react naturally is my grad school interview. So for context, right, I applied to 8 grad schools. I only got an interview for one of them. And if you don't know, in the US, if you get an interview for a grad school, you've already gotten in. It's just that you show up to campus and the faculty get to know you just to make sure you're not a freaking weirdo. Like if you give them any red flags, if you seem like a relatively nice, stable, cooperative person, you're pretty much in, barring extreme circumstances, like if too many people say yes to the acceptance letter, right? And so this was my first choice in school. Like I had applied to like 8 different schools and I only got into my number 1 choice for the interview. So, you know, at that time I didn't know that it was already a shoo-in if I like could just pull off the interview part. So the stakes were really high. Like I was really nervous the entire time because again, the only grad school that got back to me was this, you know, my top choice. And so what I was not prepared for was 3 days, you know, morning to night of socialization with very competitive peers and world-class faculty trying to determine your net intellectual worth.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've never been so acutely stressed in my entire life. It was absolutely harrowing because, like, the thing that people don't appreciate, maybe because of how scientists are portrayed in the media, most scientists are, like, very socially capable people. I can't say the same for engineers.
I feel like they have to be. Like in order to do science, you kind of have to schmooze, right?
Yeah, you need to work to get, like, no person is an island when it comes to research. You need to collaborate, especially in the modern age where one lab can only do so much. So actually, a lot of scientists are highly socially capable people. They're not at all like the nerds that you see. Although I think that stereotype, correct me if I'm wrong, engineers in chat, but I think that stereotype mostly applies to them and not scientists. I don't know if I would ask those questions. I think I would run. That's very close to what happened during my grad school interview, actually. I told the waitress you too when she gave me my food, and the experience will haunt me to my deathbed. I'm the exact same way. Like, I will hang on those negative interactions for way longer than I should. As a soon-to-be engineer, I can confirm. Yeah, exactly. Like, scientists themselves are, like, capable of schmooving. And so I was overwhelmed by the social adeptness of everybody at that interview. They're all like really good about making their own research sound really impressive and just sounding impressive in general, like very eloquent. They're able to talk about their research and their interests at a high level. They can talk with faculty without peeing themselves a little. And that's not, you know, because here's the thing, again, at this like top rated school, like these faculty are like Nobel Prize winning, like top of the line people. And like at the level of grad school, you are much closer to their peer than you are as an undergrad, because as an undergrad, the likelihood that you have an idea that a professor hasn't is, you know, approaches 0. But in grad school, you are expected to fill in the shoes of somebody that is actually going to be their intellectual weight at some point. So they see potential in you. If you've been accepted into grad school, they see that potential, the potential for someone to be able to make that novel contribution to the field of science. And so you're talking to this very high level, and I'm like nervous as heck. And a lot of these other people seem like they've been doing it for a while. And when I was talking to them like over meals, oh, you know, this is my 3rd interview, my 5th interview, you know, the campus here was like this and the campus there was like that. And I was like, I got rejected from everything. This is the first interview that I've had, and we're getting the end of interview season. So I already feel like very outgunned, like I didn't have the intellectual punching power as the rest of these people. And on top of that, I'm forced to interact with all of them. And in a way where like we're all still coming in with the mindset of we need to make sure that the important people like us the best. So we can't even like hang out without this overarching peacocking, you know,
And if you peacock too much, then they also judge you.
Yeah, because you want to speak just enough so that people get to know that that you belong there, right? In terms of like imposter syndrome, right? Like dealing with that and trying to project your confidence is miserable, especially when you're not actually confident. And what I mean by peacocking is all these people like low-key humble bragging, I had an internship at like the NIH, and meanwhile you're like, you had a flipping an internship at the NIH, like a whole 3 days of just that. But the worst part, I couldn't feel natural in terms of genuinely making friends. It was these very forced, strained interactions with my fellow interviewees, and to some extent the volunteer graduate students who were interviewing us. But the worst part was the dinner. They had rented I believe a vineyard, so a very fancy formal event.
Wine?
Yes, with alcohol, yes. Nice. And we were of age at the time. And in this vineyard where they had gathered us, the very fancy, this is like the biggest schmooving event where all of the faculty are gathered and you can chat with anybody for any length, provided you're able to wrest their attention. So it becomes this complicated social game of like, I need to talk to the professors that I want to work with, and I need to make sure that I can appear to be at their level. And this is why communication is so important, because something that my class that I teach, for my day job, is the importance of sounding like you know what you're talking about, and having to perform that. But at the same time, performing like a likable person, because you don't want, again, as you said, if you peacock too much, then you're obviously, that's terrible, right? Then they get the sense that you're this like alpha weirdo and not fun to cooperate or be around with. So that balance is very delicate. Engineering tends to be more technical than social, sorry. Although some social skills will go a long way. Yeah, that's what I hear as well. Oh, thank you for that. Sorry, it's a little hard for me to read chat because it's so small on the screen. Being social is a skill, so even if you're not eloquent, I believe in you, Paige. Level up and fake it till you make it. I feel like, oh, sorry, I totally skipped Paige's comment. I feel like I should reconsider my college plans because I am definitely not eloquent to any degree. I am much better expressing myself textually rather than verbally. It's muscle memory. Honestly, like my prep for graduate school, I gave myself the 5-minute elevator pitch about what my research was about, I think over 24 times. Like, the more, so this is my soapbox moment right here. The more you practice talking, the less your brain will focus on the mechanical action of moving your mouth, right? And if you're not worried about moving your mouth and you're autopiloting the words, then you can actually focus on listening, because conversations are a two-way street. So, Paige, if you are able to communicate through text and you believe yourself to be eloquent, I believe you can do that in speech too. Just think of it like, if you practice playing the violin, you're not thinking about every single note that you play when you play, like, I don't know, what's a violin?
Mozart Symphony in A.
Sure. If you're playing Mozart Symphony in A, if you've practiced 100 times, you're not thinking about every note. And if you're not thinking about every note, then you're much more able to actually have a conversation when that time is up. So I believe in you, Paige. I don't think that you should count yourself out just because of a perceived lack of spoken sociability.
So, Fi, leveling up your social skills, where would you put that? Where would you put that in terms of membership level?
Oh God. So for those of you who've come late to the stream, if you subscribe at the natural killer level, I will practice any skill for a certain amount of time, 1 to 3 months, depending on what the challenge is. And the idea is I will give you like my current level and like my updated level far down the line, in terms of I like to challenge myself when it comes to learning. And so Toxo is suggesting that I add social skill, and I don't know how I would do that. I would love to take suggestions from chat.
Talking to strangers every day.
So bro, that's like such a crazy move. I could, like, I know, like, that's a thing in, like, therapy, right? Like, well, they'll tell you to get over your anxiety that you should just talk to random strangers.
Yeah.
The thing about that is that doesn't come without a trade-off, in the sense where I don't want to put someone else in the uncomfortable situation of talking to me.
Yeah.
I feel like I
But the
shouldn't
idea
do
is
that.
like getting over the worry, and there is this trust in the other party of being like, I don't want to talk to you, and you being like, cool, bye.
I think the way that I would do this is we have had conversations about going to mixer events in our part of the country.
That's true.
I will go to a mixer event, which I've never done before, by the way, and I will give you, I will make it into content.
So are you telling me that that would be an impossible topic for you, or would that be a medium topic for you?
It would be impossible. No, I think I'm okay enough at it. I can put it in medium. We can put it in medium. If you want me to go get a social life, subscribe at the macrophage level. Being social is the ultimate life hack. I can confirm that being able to talk to strangers puts you ahead of 50% of the engineers. Yes, collaboration is really important in a lot of professional fields, and getting comfortable with doing that. Like, I'm not terrible at it. It just makes me feel terrible. Right.
What's up, Romagnulo? Welcome.
Welcome. We are chatting about how bad I am. Oh, another VTuber who's socially anxious. Add one to the list.
This is a surprise.
What a surprise. Yeah, so I'm catching up with chat, and then I'll finish up the story of what happened at this banquet.
Improv training.
Interesting. Yeah, I do have improv training, actually. I took a couple of improv classes, but I feel like, yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it, and it's been too long before that, since that's happened. Improved experience. Oh, Paige, you're considering becoming a genetic counselor, so you definitely need to
so
practice
far
where you can
behind.
get it. Yeah, I'm really far behind because I was ranked. I was like, I was in the zone. You know, I can chat to you in a microphone and chat on the other side of the screen, but as soon as people like,
You're so far behind.
I know. I'm catching up. I'm catching up.
Catching up.
Yeah, a genetic counselor, that I think is one of, like, that's a tough job, I would say.
Yeah.
And that's not to discourage you. I think if that is what you want to do, we need people like that.
Oh yeah. Do not envy you, but also highly support you.
And maybe if you are sensitive to, like, if you're aware enough to know that you are struggling to interact verbally, socially, that might be a good level of awareness for a genetic counselor to have. Okay, so I'm going to, where am I? Oh, the text is so small. I need to make text bigger. Toxo is savage. I don't remember what that one was about. Sorry, continuing to read. What kind of social situation would be torture for me? What situations would be? I mean, this graduate. You know what? Let me finish the graduate story.
Okay.
Because that's the closest I've been to hell.
You haven't finished it yet.
I haven't finished it yet.
Go on.
So yeah, 3 hours vineyard wine schmooving, trying to get a word in edgewise with other highly competent social people, and like I like shut down. I had like 1 can of beer, and then for a solid like half hour, I just sat in a bathroom stall. And like the thing about these social situations is we're not talking about us as humans, right? We're not trying to get along as people. We're trying to get along as future scientific collaborators. So we never actually talk about likes and dislikes. You know, there's small talk about like, oh, where are you from? You know, what are your hobbies? But none of the questions that we ask or have conversations about are who we are as people, right? Like I'm a weird, obsessive, semi-video essayist as a person. Like, and I have weird, I'm like online, I'm terminally online, right? And like everybody here that I've talked to is so well-rounded as human beings. Like, what do you like to do? I like to run. I like sports. I like watching...
I like making waifu generators in Python.
See, if I had found somebody like that, I think a lot of that anxiety would have gone away. Because I'm like, you are all far too quote unquote normal. And I know that the term normie is going out of popularity because it's condescending. But honestly, like, Like, I wanted so bad because you can't just dump that on them. You can't just be like, in the future, I'm going to program a waifu raider because that's the kind of guy that I am. But you throw hints there, right? Like, oh, what do you do in your free time? I like anime. And like the second that someone says, oh, I like anime too, I'm like, I have identified
What if it?
a potential friend.
Yeah, Avatar: The Last Airbender was really.
That happened though. That actually happened at the banquet, and I thought, oh, you built me up only to knock me down, but I'll take it. If you've watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, I will.
It's not bad.
We will.
It's a starting point.
We can talk about that. But if we don't have that common hobby ground, and that's why strangers are so hard, because with acquaintances, if I've seen them for a second time, it usually means that we have something in common.
That's true.
But with strangers, you just have no idea. And my hobbies are so niche that it's very hard to find common ground with other people. So I was in a bathroom stall for half an hour, and I was just like looking at memes on Reddit. Like, I was just like, I need some lighthearted relief from this suffocating social situation. So I just disappeared from the conversation entirely. And like, that half hour wasn't even like sufficient. I had to go back to that same bathroom stall 3 times that night, just to get away from performing like a normal person, right? Like, because if someone says we're talking about hobbies, they say sports or a television show that I haven't seen, I don't know where to go from there. Like, I just kind of freeze up where I'll stop processing. But if I have like subroutines that I can implement, that makes the social interaction a lot more easy. Okay, now I'll catch up on chat and we'll get to what social situations would be hell. I mean, grad school interview was hell.
Moju says, what if you imagine strangers are just microphones to get over the anxiety? But then what if you accidentally call them chat?
Yeah, what if I call him chat? I think it's because in this situation, like, I am the content creator, and there's like,
you are my captive audience.
You are my captive audience, which is why I like teaching so much, right? Because students have a vested interest in listening to me because I control the gradebook. So like, to me, that doesn't give me anxiety because there's an established relationship where I make content, and maybe you don't like the content, which is totally fine, and I'm totally cool with that. And like, the fact that I can't hear laughter coming back at me is actually relieving, because part of what I like to do, having taken improv classes, is I like to find what people laugh at. And if my sense of humor meshes with that sense of humor, then that automatically becomes a lot easier. But if someone gives me nothing about like what they find funny, and I'm out here trying to crack jokes and it's just like radio silent, that's like the most devastating feeling. Like that is actual hell. It feels like being on stage and just bombing, and that is, I guess, that's probably my hell.
You want to go do a stand-up open mic?
Yes, that would be. Oh no, the cat. I think the cat's got a hairball. The cat's got a hairball. I'll stay on stream, but the cat is mewing and mogging and about to upchuck a hairball. Fi's worst social nightmare would be door-to-door soliciting. Not as bad as an open mic. I think open mic is actually worse. Improv training, yeah, improv training did help. Hey Romanglo, welcome to the chat. We're just chatting about my worst social experiences, and also our cat is upchucking a hairball right now, and Toxo is dealing with that. Streamer has microphones. Yeah, door-to-door soliciting, because there's a social contract where I'm here to sell you an item, I feel a lot more comfortable because there is an expectation, right? And if the expectation that I am not funny is not met, then I just get wiped out. The thing is, if someone were so to more juice, who says, "Oh my God, tell me more about this waifu raider program. What language do you think works best for optimization strategies?" That would be incredible. I would attach myself to them surgically for the rest of the night. That would be the best. Girl Scouts was torture. I loved actually selling the cookies, but as soon as they put in the sign in my hands and shoved me to the next to the doors, I was done. I don't envy people in sales either. I remember like in graduate school, the company representatives would always get like grilled by the scientists that they were trying to sell to. It wasn't always an easy job to make the sell. But I mean, you know, in the very like old-fashioned way, like that kind of experience does build character, and that's maybe something that we'll chat about. Sorry, when Toxo gets back. You can't see us making cringe faces when you say something cringe. That's easy mode. Yeah, exactly. Like that separation is actually quite important because, you know, in my most optimistic interpretation, you're all laughing hysterically but not typing anything in chat, and I can cope with that. But if you bomb on stage, like you try to land a joke and it's not funny, you know, if you want me to do stand-up as a challenge, I think that has to be upgraded to the impossible challenge. Like, that's actually hell. A mixer where I try to get along socially with other people, that's a medium-level difficulty thing. Like, I think recording the routine might be a little doxable, so I kind of don't want to do that. I'll think about it. The worst is when you're talking with someone who understands something in UR and they make a face when you know something and you said something really dumb. Yeah, I think graduate school actually really helps you a lot in the sense that, you know, if you decide to do a PhD, one of the things in your PhD training will be to defend your thesis idea, and defending your thesis idea involves defending your idea in front of the world's best professors. So you get really good at saying exactly what you mean all of the time, so you can never be caught unguarded. You get very careful with language, having gone through a PhD. Let's see. I'm also a slow reader, so sorry. Mercala, welcome to the stream. See, I work at Ren Fair and got improv training there, so if I bomb, I can turn around and annoy someone else up the street.
Marcella's been here.
Marcel, sorry. I've been distracted. I've been lost in my own sauce. Sorry. Ren Fair is super cool. That involves being on like your entire job though, and I think that would drain me very quickly. I think that's very impressive. Life with cats, true. How was the hairball? Did she?
She didn't have a real hairball. It was all just. It was phlegm and grossness, but I did catch it all.
Nice. Good timing. Poor cat. Her hair is very sticky, fine. I don't know how you would describe it. It clumps easily.
Poor. I gave her some poop juice.
Poop juice, by the way. You're going to need to explain that.
I will not.
So there's a laxative, I guess.
It's called cat lax. It's basically some sort of oil that they make taste fishy, questionably, and it helps the stuff come out.
It's food lube for the food tube.
For
any Drawfee fans.
It helps things go out the bottom instead of out the top. Ideally,
yeah. Feel free to use my template next time you're talking to someone. Oh. The thing about More Juice, your template, is that leaves me open to follow-up questions. And I don't know if I could be ready for all of them all of the time.
So that's where the improv training comes in.
That's true. There is that improv game that's like, what is it called? Like Fake Expert or something, where you have to pretend to be really knowledgeable about a topic.
I don't know if I've ever played that one.
Yeah, it's fun, but I don't know if my inner PhD student could let me do that anymore, because I'm afraid of lying.
What do you mean?
I am so deeply scarred by my generals exam. So I've not talked about this story, but so the generals exam, it's called different things in terms of your specific program. But if you do a PhD, you will have to defend the idea in front of a committee, and they'll basically tell you whether or not you deserve to continue to be a PhD student. Like, if your idea is good enough, then they'll let you keep studying. If not, then they'll boot you. That's the formal description. It's very rare that people get booted from the university. It's very rare that you'll get booted from the university if you're not, like, if you don't defend very well. But it can happen if you're, like, not showing any amount of interest at all. And I had rolled in my committee one of the hardest hard asses of our department. I said ass, the A word, and it means butt. I had rolled one of the hardest hard asses in the whole department, and we couldn't reserve enough large classrooms, so I had to do my defense in his office. So I was like at all times 5 feet away from the like meanest dude in the department, and he's there just like scowling at me the entire time, and it was very difficult to remain composed. It was very scary. Hank Green did stand up after cancer. You have to one up him. I think that with a high enough, you could pay me to do it.
Wow.
Greedy YouTuber.
Greedy.
Greedy YouTuber voice crack. I'm all for new experiences. I'm all for challenging myself. But that would actually be my personal hell.
Racist events being stand up but terrifying instead of funny. What are your thoughts? Just yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And like really nervous and sweaty. Toxo, you were there when I was preparing for my thesis defense. That was tough.
Yeah. I remember if I had like a big whiteboard and he had to explain some of his research to me beforehand so I wouldn't be like completely lost. Because he's presenting to like professors and stuff, right? And I'm not a professor. So he had to give me some background knowledge.
You know that meme of the conspiracy guy? He's got the conspiracy board with all the red threads. That was basically me the entire time, because I was just like, boy, this is not easy to explain. How strong was the urge to squeal, "Please don't hurt me" during your defense? It was very, very strong. I had unfortunately learned about this dude's reputation beforehand, that he was responsible for making a lot of grad students cry during class.
You're scaring Paige.
Oh no, this isn't good stuff to listen to me right before I graduate high school. The thing is I would do it all again. Despite the difficulty, I think that for me, graduate school was so important. Even if I didn't end up as a researcher professionally, right? I just think that going to grad school and digging deep into what you want to do, there's nothing better for passionate, maybe that's an over exaggeration. If you're passionate about the thing that you want to do for a living, and the thing that you want to do for a living is academic,
or gated behind getting an academic degree.
Yes, or gated behind getting an academic degree, I do recommend it. And so like, it's tough, but you can then look back to that experience and acknowledge that you survived it. And I think that is valuable, right? The things that you want are only worth wanting because they are hard to get. If you've seen my last stream, there's a whole graph that I made of effort and fun and difficulty. And I think you can do it. I think you'll be fine.
This is back to the suffering.
Yeah, this is back to the suffering stream.
I don't know.
It is suffering stream. There is quite a bit of suffering in graduate school. I'm not going to paint it as like, oh, everybody will be fine in graduate school, because that's also not true. Like, that's maybe a little rosy. But what is true is that first you have to take classes your first couple years, and those classes are invaluable if what you want is an academic type job. Second of all, learning to express yourself is one of the key components of graduate school, and you get that early. So Paige, if it makes you feel better, I quit grad school in my 6th year because it wasn't panning out. But does that mean that my life has gone off the deep end and I wasn't able to find work? No, in fact, it meant that I could explore, I could take the skills that I did get in grad school and apply them to a job that I actually really wanted to do, which is teach, right? So there's this whole like pipeline of like whether or not, you need to get like a PhD and then you need to do a postdoc and then you become a professor. That's not necessarily true. And from what I remember, you want to be a genetic counselor. So the route to like in grad school for something like that might look a little different than everybody else's, but like failure is not an obstacle to success. Failure is
it's on the road to success.
It's on the road to success. Yeah.
You might not be on the road to success, but know that the road to success does come with failure on it.
Yeah, and
You won't always succeed.
this is actually really good.
That's just life.
This is a really good transition to something that we've been talking a lot about, and that's about failure as like a concept, or rather, what would
I did
you?
a whole stream on failure, so
I did a whole stream on failure and like my personal relationship to failure, but like we've been talking just casually amongst the two of us, like failure at like a societal level.
societal level.
We live in a society. Yeah,
So that people should be not should be. I'm not telling you what to do, but I feel like there is an issue these days where there are people who are unwilling to fail. And that can be due to anything, right? Like they were brought up that way, perfectionism, whatever. But I feel like it is becoming more prevalent, maybe. I have no evidence for this. I'm just speaking out of my ass. But in my experience, people get more and more anxious because they're unwilling to fail. When failure is truly like everyone fails, and everyone fails, everyone is going to fail, and you will fail in the future. Just straight up, you will fail in the future. And I will fail in the future, and Phi will fail in the future. And God knows we've failed a lot in the past, right? But there's this concept of like when I am suffering, if I am suffering, then something is wrong. When sometimes it just means that the thing you're doing is hard, and that's okay.
yeah. So the reason why this came up in our conversation is we've been, I don't know how deep. Okay, maybe not. But yeah. So the idea that like. I kind of get it though, because when I went to a high school that was like one of these like little genius boy high schools where like everybody surrounding me was this like uber genius presidential candidate, tech CEO, like hopeful, and it can be daunting when you are surrounded by people who seem like they never fail, and it's basically the academic version of social media, right? Like you don't put your low moments on your social media accounts. Much like the same way where these like hyper successful academic people will never show moments of academic weakness. Also, I have no idea how much they cheated. That's also possible. Like, you know, sometimes that like that cheating ability can become a skill on its own. But the thing about that is like, at the end of the day, right? Their kind of position in life right now, you could argue, is still successful. And yeah, if you're like really good at stuff, then you're going to be good at stuff. And if you continue to be good at stuff, then opportunities will be made available to you. And I've stopped really worrying about that because like I do have to acknowledge that there are just people who are just cracked out there. Like there's no honest discussion about this without acknowledging that some people are just cracked. But the overwhelming majority of people are not cracked. Like we're all able to perform because we are all human in the sense where we all have the potential to succeed. But most of us will not get there without effort and trial and error.
Yeah, and it's like you should not fear failing. Drop the only 2 antibodies for flow cytometry we had on our team to mark a specific cell. Oof. But also, yeah, I guess the way to put it in my head is not what I said, but more like, you know, you're not trying to fail. No one's trying to fail. We're not throwing the tube of antibodies out in the garbage because we're like, haha, don't fear failure. But it's also like, yeah, that sucks. It sucks, and don't do it again, hopefully. But now you've learned, questionably. Well, that's another thing, is I don't think you always learn from failure. But I think it's still okay to fail.
Yeah.
Even if you don't get anything from it, it's okay.
I'm trying to think of what my biggest lab failure was, besides not finishing my PhD. Like that's a pretty that sucked. But I think, you know, if we're swapping failed lab stories, I like gassed my lab one time. I had So this is bad because I was not disposing of acids properly. I should have neutralized the acid, but I thought, hey, it's like pretty dilute to begin with, so I just diluted it further and dumped it down the sink. Again, you shouldn't do that. You should neutralize it. Like, I was wrong, I did a bad. It's okay to admit that you did a bad and made a mistake. And then I went off to do something else, you know, for my research, and then I poured bleach down the sink because I had been disinfecting some of my materials. And the thing about mixing bleach with acids is that it forms chlorine gas. So I basically gassed out my entire lab, which was
Nice.
which was nuts, right? It's now I never just dilute acids anymore. I always make sure to neutralize because that's just not worth the danger. It was dilute acids, so I didn't have to evacuate the whole building because I diluted it, but I did have to evacuate the lab, and it shut down work for the rest of the day, and it was really, really embarrassing.
Holiday, snow day,
Chlorine gas day.
chlorine gas day.
Rough.
We're reenacting the war.
No.
Historical.
I think Dustin from Smarter Every Day said it in a good and a talkie to JPL. Systems need positive and negative feedback, and his point was that people need it too. You cannot learn if you don't fail. Yeah, exactly. Like, and like the people who seem like they never fail, I don't even. It like doesn't matter anymore. When because I used to compare myself a lot to them, but at my age now, I don't even like think about them anymore. It doesn't like it over time. It stops mattering because the axis of success is not purely numerical in terms of like, I'm like happy. That's pretty successful.
What did the chlorine gas smell like?
The chlorine gas smelled like the worst swimming pool in the entire world. Just chlorine gas is in your swimming pool, but imagine that to the point where you think you might be choking. So I don't recommend that. Definitely bad.
Was it like combining antifreeze and pool chlorine?
I actually don't know what the chemical composition of antifreeze is in terms of how it reacts with pool chlorine, but as long as it generates chlorine gas, like chlorine gas has a distinctive smell, and
Obligatory, do not do this at home.
don't replicate this at all. Like, you know, there was a short.
Don't do it in lab either. To be clear,
do
it anywhere.
There was a short idea that I had. You know, back at the beginning of the channel when I was grinding shorts, there was a short that I had to discard because I was like, oh no, this short invariably teaches people how to make fire with household ingredients in a non-chemically sanctioned way. And then so I was like, I'd better not publish that.
It's true.
Even though I already finished writing it and I finished recording it. It was like pretty ready, almost ready to go. But I was like, I can't in good conscience teach people how to make a firebomb. That would be bad.
It's true. Don't try it at home.
Do not try it at home. Not even Nile Red is capable of such madness. Yeah. All right. Any other thing that we wanted to chat about?
No,
Any other threads?
I don't have any more threads.
Yeah. Fail frequently, fail often, learn from them. It's normal. We all do it. I nearly gassed my lab. That was really dangerous. Don't do that either.
Yeah. Pickles are bad.
Pickles are bad.
Brats are really good. Those are my favorite.
Bratz, fan of the Bratz Dolls series?
No. We leave it at that.
We leave it at that. Okay. The lore deepens. Toxo enjoys Bratz.
Cheese is mid.
Cheese is okay.
Fi really likes fried butter.
It is a deeply guarded secret and shame that was maybe the most delicious thing that I've eaten.
I'm not supposed to mention Fi's fanfiction.net account. As a rule.
With a high enough membership incentive, maybe that'll come out one day. I have no shame. I am a greedy YouTuber. Oh, yeah. To finish off, I thought I would recap the membership rewards just for people that came late and are still hanging around. So I'll just like speed run through this. So my memberships don't give you access to more content because I think education should be free. It gives you behind the scenes content, which doesn't have as much educational value. If you subscribe as a member, you get fun badges that Toxo has drawn. I love this galaxy virus here. It's so cool. Progenitor cell, you get emojis, behind the scene video updates, and members only videos, stuff that isn't appropriate for the algorithm or not really in line with the view of my channel. If you subscribe to the Helper T-Cell reward tier, then you get access to the learning challenge where you can push me to learn something over the course of time, and I will have to teach it no matter what it is, provided that it is appropriate for the channel. Easy topics are things like biology, psychology, sociology. So if there's a particular pathogen that you want me to look into, you can suggest that. If you subscribe at the macrophage tier, you can input medium challenges, so things that are outside of my comfort zone, as well as get access to summer vacation gaming. I don't think I should always be doing educational content. We deserve a break too. And if you want to play games with me over the summer, this is the tier that you'll want to go to. And if you just sub for like 1 month at that tier, then go back down or cancel your membership, I'm totally fine with that too. I won't take offense. So the medium topics are chemistry, math, physics, philosophy, history, and go get a social life. That's a new addition that we have on this stream. And then the biggest tier award is the natural killer cells. So this is like, I don't really expect anybody to do this, but if they do, it would be deserving of an equal amount of effort that I would put into making content here, and you would get access to impossible learning challenge suggestions, which would be things like skills, singing, music theory, programming, art, any language on Duolingo that I can find. So if you want me to dedicate a good amount of time to getting good at something, I can try to show off what I can do in a month or 3, depending. Scobies were good. They were better than expected. Yeah. All right. And so, wait, what material is the 1-year badge made of? So let's take a look at that 1-year badge. They're a little small, but if we zoom in, so I can try to move this in OBS, make it bigger so we can appreciate the art a little more. This is a diamond badge. Refractive like a crystal. I really, really like it. Unfortunately, the badges are pretty small, so it gets a little hard to appreciate the work that went into these. But this Galaxy Boy is very clear. Did we end up getting you a membership?
No.
Hey, Toxo can't even use these right now.
I tried to look. I'm only logged on to YouTube on my phone right now, and I can't get membership on my phone, so I have to do it when I'm at my computer.
Yeah. Welcome, female Thunderbirds Nerds Gaming. Hello there. Thank you for doing the long-awaited Necrovirus and Plague Inc. When will you be doing a live stream of the plagues from Plague Inc? So I think that either end of March, beginning of April is when I would try to do that. So there are so that's a stream that will require higher effort, and I'm trying to time it for when my 9-to-5 job is a little less demanding. But yes, so Female Thunderbirds does bring up a good point, is I did promise to talk about all of the plagues in Plague Inc., and I definitely still want to do that, and I'm going to do it soon. But right now, since the semester is still chugging along, I'm waiting for a little bit of free time to get that done, because there are a lot of situations to talk through. And I think that by doing it on stream, I can give you my full thoughts instead of just a minute. And that'd be pretty fun to do. Education is free. Just visit the local public library. Card-carrying librarian. True. You can get a lot of stuff at the library that is absolutely wonderful. And again, materials to improve your understanding of the world should never be gated behind money, because that just means the rich get richer. And so I strongly believe in keeping my educational content free for anybody to see. And the library is also a great resource to get that done. I wish that I had gone to the library more as a kid for the stuff that wasn't checking out books. There are like D&D events at the public library, which are really fun, and I never, I
don't think our library has that.
No, ours does. Currently right now, there are D&D events.
I had no idea.
Yeah, all sorts of cool things at the public library. Kawaii viruses, indeed. Okay. With that, I have a couple of announcements for content that's coming out sort of in the near future. So I'm planning to do a more serious unedited video on the Milwaukee Protocol, which is the protocol that was supposedly used to bring people back from the brink of death from rabies. And so I got a lot of feedback on the rabies video saying that the Milwaukee Protocol was this like miracle. And I'm going to be talking about why that image that we have of the Milwaukee Protocol isn't as simple as we think it is. Also in the pipeline is a weird food tier list. I want to try to do that next week, although I don't have that scheduled quite yet. But I think it would be fun because we are getting to 10K, and I want to do that tier list before we actually hit 10K, so that when we do hit 10K, I can fill it in with all the foods that you have all suggested. I'll go back in the chat and write down all the weird food suggestions that you have requested, and we'll get to enjoy culinary oddities together, and I think that would be fun too. I'm also working on something that I don't want to tease yet. Another full-length video on akin to the gonorrhea one, which I think is really fun, and it's been a video that I've been wanting to do for a while. With that in mind, let's see. I think that's it for me. Toxo, is there anything that you want to say to these cellmates here before we call it a day?
No, I don't think so. Thanks for having me on. I had a good time chatting.
All right, thank you.
And demonetizing the channel.
Let's hope we don't have that happen. But thank you all. Thank you for watching. Bye. See you next time.